The envelope felt heavier than paper should as Jonathan's father slid it across the mahogany table at the country club. Inside was an itemized bill for $200,000, every line meticulously detailed in his banker's handwriting. Venue rental at the St. Regis, flowers from the Belgian florist, a dress I'd never seen, catering for 500 guests I didn't know. This is non-negotiable, William Ashford said, adjusting his counterfeit Rolex. The Ashford family has standards. If you want to marry our son, you need to meet them. My name is Lauren Chen, and I'm a forensic accountant who just discovered my entire engagement was a con. But sitting in that country club, watching the Ashfords swagger with money they didn't have, I decided to play along. After all, I'd always been good with numbers, and their numbers were about to destroy them. I met Jonathan Ashford at a charity auction 2 years ago. He was bidding aggressively on a Monet sketch, champagne in hand, designer suit impeccable. When he lost to me, he laughed and introduced himself. Jonathan Ashford, and you're the woman with excellent taste who just cost me a Monet. Lauren Chen, and you're the man who just saved $50,000 by losing to someone who actually wanted it. He was charmed. I was intrigued. He came from old Philadelphia money, or so he claimed. His family owned hotels, had a wing at the hospital, summered in the Hamptons. I came from immigrant parents who built a small accounting firm into a modest success. Opposites attract, everyone said. What a fairy tale. The red flag started small. Jonathan always forgot his wallet. His credit cards were having issues. The Porsche was in the shop, constantly, but he was charming, attentive, and I was falling in love with who I thought he was. When he proposed with a massive diamond at his family's estate, I said yes immediately. His mother, Victoria, air-kissed me and immediately started planning. We'll have the wedding at the St. Regis, of course. The Ashfords have been members for generations. Spring, I think. Magnolias and money, what better combination? I was thinking something smaller, I ventured. Maybe. Nonsense, William cut in. An Ashford wedding is an event. Our reputation demands excellence. I should have known then. The way they said Ashford like it was currency. The way they toured me through a house that felt more like a museum, beautiful but cold, expensive but empty. The way Jonathan squeezed my hand too tight when I asked questions. The wedding planning started without me. Victoria made appointments I wasn't invited to, selected vendors I never met, planned a ceremony that had nothing to do with my wishes or heritage. Your people don't really do big weddings, do they? She asked during one particularly painful lunch. Best to leave this to those of us who understand society. My people? I kept my voice level. You mean Americans? Because that's what I am. She tittered nervously. Of course, dear. I just meant, well, you know. I knew exactly what she meant. The financial request started subtly. Jonathan needed a loan for a temporary cash flow issue. His father asked if I could invest in a surefire hotel deal. Victoria suggested I pay for the engagement party, as a gesture of good faith to the family. Each time, I smiled and declined. Each time, they got more desperate. Everything came to a head 3 months before the wedding. William summoned me to the country club and presented the bill. $200,000? I stared at the itemized list. For a wedding you planned without me? The Ashford name carries certain expectations. He said stiffly, this is what it costs to meet them. And you expect me to pay this? Well, Jonathan's trust fund is tied that up at the moment. And we've had some temporary setbacks with our investments. But family helps family, doesn't it? We're not family yet, I pointed out. His face darkened. No, we're not. And we won't be unless this wedding happens. Jonathan is very traditional. No wedding, no marriage. I'm sure you understand. I understood perfectly. They were holding my relationship hostage for $200,000. I need time to liquidate some assets. I lied smoothly. Give me 2 weeks. William smiled like a shark. I knew you were a smart girl. That night, Jonathan was extra attentive. Dad told me about your meeting. You're amazing. You know that? Not many women would understand our situation. What situation exactly? I probed. Oh, you know. Old money isn't liquid money, it's all tied up in trusts and investments. But once we're married, everything will be different. We'll be partners in everything, including your trust fund? He kissed my forehead. Everything, baby. The Ashford fortune will be yours too. I went home and did what I do best, followed the money. It took me 3 days to uncover the truth. The Ashfords weren't old money, they weren't new money, they weren't any money. William had declared bankruptcy twice. Victoria's jewelry collection was cubic zirconia and wishful thinking. The house was mortgaged 3 times over. The country club membership was 6 months behind. But the real shock was Jonathan, my fiancé. the supposed heir to a hotel fortune, was actually $800,000 in debt. No trust fund, no investments, just credit cards, gambling debts, and a very interesting series of deposits from a woman named Margaret Pemberton, 73 years old, widowed, and worth approximately $40 million. The photos my investigator found were enlightening. Jonathan at Margaret's penthouse, Jonathan on Margaret's yacht, Jonathan wearing the watch Margaret bought him, the same watch he'd told me was his grandfather's. My fiancé wasn't just broke, he was a professional con man, and I was supposed to be his biggest score yet. I spent the next week playing the perfect fiancé while gathering evidence, bankruptcy filings, forged financial statements, tax fraud going back years. The Ashfords weren't just broke, they were criminals. The rehearsal dinner arrived faster than expected. The Ashfords had planned it at the country club, billing me naturally. They'd invited 150 of their closest friends, all people they owed money to or hoped to con next. I arrived in the red dress Jonathan loved, carrying a briefcase instead of a clutch. "Darling," Victoria air-kissed me, "don't you look bold? Is that briefcase really necessary?" "Oh yes," I smiled, "it is everything we need for tonight." The dinner progressed with painful speeches about the joining of two great families and the Ashford legacy continuing. I noticed Margaret Pemberton at table 3, dripping in real diamonds, gazing at Jonathan with ownership. Finally, William stood for his toast, "To my son and his brilliant bride, who understands that joining the Ashford family is an investment in excellence." To investments, the crowd cheered. Speaking of investments, I stood, tapping my glass. "I have some documents to share about the Ashford family finances." The room went silent. Jonathan's face paled. "Lauren, what are you doing?" "Due diligence," I said, pulling out papers. Something I should have done 2 years ago. I started with the bankruptcy filings, projecting them on the screen intended for our love story slideshow. William Ashford, bankrupt in 2015 and 2019, currently $2.3 million in debt. Gasps rippled through the room. William stood. "How dare you?" Victoria Ashford, I continued, arrested for check fraud in 2018. Charges dropped when the victim mysteriously withdrew complaints. Currently named in 3 active lawsuits for non-payment. Victoria's Botox couldn't hide her shock. "And Jonathan Ashford," I said, meeting my fiancé's panicked eyes. "No trust fund, no inheritance, no job for the past 4 years. But somehow, mysteriously, $300,000 in deposits from Margaret Pemberton." All eyes turned to table 3. Margaret's face went from confusion to rage as she stared at Jonathan. "You told me you were breaking up with her," Margaret shrieked. "You said the money was for your sick mother." "Margaret, I can explain," Jonathan started. "Explain what?" I asked loudly. "How you've been dating both of us, how you promised to marry her too, how you've taken money from her while planning a wedding to me that I was supposed to pay for." The room erupted. Margaret threw her wine at Jonathan. William tried to grab my microphone. Victoria fainted, or pretended to. But I wasn't done. "Oh, and the wedding they planned? The one they demanded I pay $200,000 for? They've already collected deposits from vendors using my name and credit. That's fraud. The FBI is very interested." As if on cue, federal agents entered the ballroom. My college roommate Sarah, now with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division, led the team. "William Ashford, Victoria Ashford, Jonathan Ashford, you're under arrest for wire fraud, conspiracy, and racketeering. You set us up," Jonathan screamed as they cuffed him. "You lying bitch." "I told the truth," I said calmly, "something you might want to try in your elocution." As they led the Ashfords away, Margaret Pemberton approached me, mascara streaming. I'm so sorry, I thought I was special." "He said he loved me." "He said that to me too," I admitted, "but men like Jonathan don't love people, they love opportunities." "The money I gave him, file a civil suit," I advised. "I'll testify. You might recover some of it from asset seizure." She nodded gratefully, then looked at the chaos around us. "What kind of monsters raise their son to be a con artist?" "The kind who see everyone as marks," I said, watching William argue with federal agents about his rights. "The kind who think the world owes them luxury they can't afford." The country club was in chaos. Half the guests were on phones with lawyers, realizing they too had been scammed. The other half were gleefully recording for social media. The Ashford family con had finally collapsed, and everyone wanted to witness the fall. My phone buzzed. "Jonathan, somehow texting from custody, this isn't over. I'll get out, and you'll pay for humiliating my family." I forwarded the threat to Sarah and blocked his number. The aftermath was swift and satisfying. The Ashfords were convicted on multiple counts. William got 12 years. Victoria got 8. and Jonathan, with his longer history and Margaret's testimony, got 15. The wedding vendors who'd been scammed thanked me for exposing the fraud before they provided services. The country club revoked the Ashford membership and sued for back dues. The house was seized for tax fraud. Margaret Pemberton became an unlikely friend. We started a support group for romance scam victims, sharing our stories and warning signs. She recovered some money from the asset seizure and used it to fund fraud prevention education. He was so convincing, she said during one meeting. The stories, the promises, the dreams he sold me, that's what they do. I explained. They don't sell themselves. They sell who you want them to be. My parents, who'd been skeptical of Jonathan from the start, took me to dinner after the trial. We wanted to say something, Mom admitted, but you seemed so happy. His family was so rude to you, Dad added. The way they acted at your engagement party, like we were beneath them. You were right to be suspicious, I said. I just couldn't see past the performance. But you did eventually, Mom pointed out. And you didn't just walk away. You made sure they couldn't hurt anyone else. 6 months later, I was auditing a client when my assistant knocked. Lauren, there's a delivery for you. It was a single rose with a note. Thank you for showing me what real strength looks like. A grateful stranger. I never found out who sent it, but I had my suspicions. One of the vendors who didn't lose money. A guest who realized they were being groomed as the next Mark. Maybe even someone who heard about the case and dodged their own Ashford bullet. The truth is, the Ashfords weren't unique. They were just one family in a long con game, pretending to have money while stealing from those who actually earned it. They targeted me because I was successful, single, and different enough that they thought I'd be grateful for their acceptance. They were wrong on all counts. I wasn't grateful, I was suspicious. I wasn't different, I was observant. And I wasn't their victim, I was their downfall. My name is Lauren Chen. I'm a forensic accountant who almost married into a family of con artists. When they demanded $200,000 for a wedding they planned without me, I uncovered their bankruptcy, fraud, and my fiancé's sugar mommy. At the rehearsal dinner meant to celebrate our union, I exposed them all. They wanted my money, they got federal prison instead. The wedding dress they ordered without my input? I donated it to a charity auction. It raised $5,000 for fraud victim support. Now that's what I call a happy ending.
The bass thrums through the soles of my feet as I stand at the edge of the rooftop bar, 30 stories above Manhattan. Everyone around me sparkles, literally sparkles, in sequins and metallic dresses that catch the light like scattered stars. I'm wearing the black dress Nicole picked out for me, because of course I am. She's always known what's best for me, hasn't she? Mia. Nicole's voice carries across the crowd, musical and commanding as always. She's waving a champagne bottle, her smile brilliant enough to rival the city lights behind her. Birthday girl, get over here. I weave through the crowd, accepting hugs and birthday wishes from faces I mostly recognize from Nicole's Instagram stories. The party is exactly what she promised. Exclusive, expensive, and engineered for maximum social media impact. Just like everything else in Nicole's orbit. You look absolutely gorgeous, she gushes, pulling me into a perfumed embrace. I knew that dress would be perfect on you. Didn't I tell you? You always know, I say, and mean it. For 10 years, Nicole has been my compass, my confidant, my sister in everything but blood. The person who took awkward, uncertain Mia and helped transform her into someone who could almost belong in places like this. Edison appears at my elbow, offering a knowing smile and a fresh glass of champagne. Happy birthday, he says quietly, his steady presence a counterweight to Nicole's sparkle. Holding up okay? Before I can answer, Nicole sweeps me away for photos. The lighting is perfect right now, she insists, positioning me against the cityscape. I smile on command, letting her adjust my pose like a photographer with their favorite prop. The night blurs into a carousel of toasts and laughter and carefully curated moments. I'm floating on champagne bubbles when I excuse myself to the bathroom, weaving through the crowd toward the interior of the venue. That's when I hear it. Can't believe she's 30. Nicole's voice, slightly slurred but still carrying that familiar musical lilt. God, remember when we met her? So desperate to belong somewhere? I freeze, one hand on the bathroom door. The voices are coming from around the corner, just out of sight. She's sweet, though. Another voice. Pearl, I think. You two are like sisters. Nicole's laugh is sharp enough to cut. Please, she'll never be more than my sidekick. I mean, look at her, still wearing the clothes I pick out, still following my lead. It's kind of sad, really, like having a permanent intern who never graduates. The words hit like ice water, shocking me sober. My chest constricts as a decade of memories suddenly shift, kaleidoscope-like, into new and horrible patterns. That's harsh, Pearl says, but she's laughing too. It's true, though. I love her, but come on. Some people are meant to be supporting characters. At least she's good at it. I back away from the bathroom, my heels suddenly unsteady beneath me. The party lights seem too bright now, harsh and exposing. Every smile directed my way feels like pity. Every laugh sounds like mockery. My phone buzzes, a text from Edison. You okay? You look pale. I scan the crowd and find him watching me with concern. Beyond him, Nicole has returned to holding court, champagne in hand, radiant as ever. She catches my eye and waves, blowing an exaggerated kiss. My stomach lurches. 10 years of friendship telescope down to this moment, this revelation. Every time she's helped me with my career, every introduction she's made, every piece of advice she's given. Was it all just to keep me safely in her shadow? I grab my clutch and head for the elevator, ignoring the calls of, "Birthday girl, where are you going?" My hands shake as I press the lobby button. In the mirrored walls, I see myself as Nicole sees me. The faithful sidekick, the eternal supporting character, carefully styled in a dress she chose. But there's something else in my reflection, too. Something hard and bright in my eyes that wasn't there before. Because what Nicole doesn't know, what she's forgotten in her champagne-soaked superiority, is that I'm the one person who knows where all her bodies are buried. 10 years of secrets, of covering for her, of being the reliable friend who helps clean up her messes. The elevator doors open to the lobby, and I step out feeling lighter than I have all night. Tomorrow, Nicole will wake up to find her carefully constructed world beginning to crumble. And I'll be watching from the shadows she so thoughtfully taught me to inhabit. Happy birthday to me. Morning light filters through my bedroom window, harsh and unforgiving. My phone shows 17 missed calls from Nicole, 38 text messages, and 1 voicemail that I delete without listening. The dress she chose lies crumpled on my floor like a shed skin. I drag myself to the kitchen, where Edison is already waiting with coffee. He stayed over on my couch last night after following me home from the party, worried about my state of mind. Now he watches me with those careful eyes of his, waiting for me to break or explode. "You should eat something," he says, sliding a bagel across the counter. "I should burn that dress," I reply, but I take a bite anyway. "Did you know? About how she really saw me?" Edison's hesitation is answer enough. "Mia, how long?" He sighs, running a hand through his disheveled hair. "I've seen glimpses. The way she takes credit for your ideas at work. How she always positions herself as your mentor rather than your equal. But last night was different. Cruel." My phone buzzes again, Nicole's face lighting up the screen. I silence it without looking. "You know what's funny?" I say, staring into my coffee. Yesterday morning, I was helping her damage control her latest crisis. Again. She called me at 5 a.m. panicking about some documents that could ruin everything if they got out. And I dropped everything to help because that's what sidekicks do, right? Edison straightens. "What documents?" I walk to my home office where my laptop sits beside a thick manila envelope. "These arrived last week. Someone's been collecting receipts on Nicole's creative accounting at work, plus some interesting emails about how she's been taking credit for other people's projects, including mine." Jesus, Mia. Edison picks up the envelope like it might explode. "This is serious. This could end her career." I know. That's why she was so desperate to get ahead of it. I laugh, but there's no humor in it. I spent 6 hours yesterday helping her craft responses, making calls, calling in favors, all while she was probably thinking about what a pathetic little helper I am. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Pearl. Probably calling to do damage control on Nicole's behalf. I let it go to voicemail. "What are you going to do?" Edison asks quietly, Before I can answer, there's a pounding at my door. Mia, I know you're in there. Nicole's voice missing its usual musical quality. Why aren't you answering your phone? We need to talk. Edison moves toward the door, but I grab his arm. Don't, I whisper. Please. The pounding continues. This isn't funny, Mia. I need those documents back. You can't just disappear with them. Edison's eyes widen as understanding dawns. The documents she was worried about? They were the ones you already had? I nod slowly. She doesn't know that part. She thinks I took them after the party, after overhearing her. She has no idea I've known for days exactly what kind of friend she really is. Mia, please. Nicole's voice cracks. I know you're upset about last night, but I was drunk. I didn't mean any of it. You're my best friend. The words hit like a slap. Best friend. The same person who called me her permanent intern just hours ago. 10 years of friendship, and I never realized I was just another carefully managed asset in Nicole's portfolio. If you don't open this door, I swear to God. You'll what? I call back, surprising myself. Find someone else to clean up your messes? Another sidekick to keep in your shadow? Silence falls heavy on the other side of the door. When Nicole speaks again, her voice is low, dangerous. You don't want to do this, Mia. You have no idea what I know about you. But she's wrong. For the first time, I know exactly what I want to do. I pick up my phone and dial a number I found in the documents. It rings twice before a crisp voice answers. Annabelle May's office. Hi, I say, watching Edison's eyes grow wide as he recognizes the name of Nicole's biggest rival. My name is Mia Emerson. I have some information Ms. May might find interesting about creative accounting practices at her competitor's firm. Nicole must hear something in my tone because she starts pounding on the door again, harder now. But it doesn't matter. The die is cast. I'm listening, Annabelle says. I look at the envelope in my hands, 10 years of loyalty weighing against one night of truth. How soon can we meet? The lobby of Annabelle's office building feels like entering another world. All glass and steel and quiet power, nothing like the startup chaos where Nicole and I work. My heels click against marble as the security guard escorts me to a private elevator. Quite the evidence package you've brought us, Annabelle says by way of greeting. She's shorter than I expected, but her presence fills the corner office. Though I have to ask, why now? These documents are dated from months ago. I set my coffee down on her pristine desk. Let's just say I recently gained some clarity about certain relationships. Ah. Her smile is knowing. Nicole finally showed her true colors? My phone buzzes. Edison again. I silence it, but not before seeing his message. Dylan's looking for you, says it's urgent. The question is, Annabelle continues, what do you want out of this? Besides revenge? The word makes me flinch. I hadn't thought. Of course you have. She leans forward. Everyone who comes to me with dirt has thought about exactly what they want. So let's hear it. Before I can answer, my phone lights up with a call from Malia. I silence it too, but something must show on my face because Annabelle's expression shifts. Having second thoughts? No, I say quickly. Too quickly. There are people who might get caught in the crossfire. There always are. Annabelle stands, walking to her window. Did you know Nicole tried to poach my entire development team last year? Offered them all significant raises, equity packages, but she didn't count on loyalty. My stomach twists. What do you mean? They told me everything, showed me the offers. We used that information to secure our biggest contract to date. She turns back to me. Loyalty is currency, Mia. Nicole never understood that. She sees it as weakness. My phone buzzes again. Dylan. This time I read the message. Need to talk. It's about Nicole. And you. The question, Annabelle says, is whether you're ready to spend that currency. I think of Nicole pounding on my door this morning, of 10 years of carefully crafted manipulation, of being the eternal sidekick. I'm ready, I say. But when I leave Annabelle's office an hour later, Dylan is waiting in the lobby. His face is ashen, his usually perfect hair disheveled. "Thank God," he says, grabbing my arm. "We need to talk, now." He practically drags me to a nearby coffee shop, checking over his shoulder the whole way. Once we're seated in a corner booth, he pulls out his phone and shows me an email. "Nicole sent this to the whole board this morning, after you wouldn't answer her calls." My blood runs cold as I read. The email details every mistake I've ever made at work, every project that didn't quite succeed, every moment of weakness or uncertainty, but twisted, distorted into a pattern of incompetence and manipulation. According to Nicole, I've been riding her coattails for years, taking credit for her work, using her name to advance myself. "She's burning you before you can burn her," Dylan says quietly. "And it's working. The board is already talking about an investigation." My hands shake as I push the phone away. How did she... I was so careful. Because she's been planning this for months. Dylan won't meet my eyes. She told me to keep records of your mistakes, your conversations, in case she ever needed insurance. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Dylan, sweet, funny Dylan, who I've had drinks with, who I've confided in, who I thought was my friend too, has been Nicole's spy all along. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "I didn't know what she'd use it for. I thought it was just business." My phone buzzes again. Edison. "Board meeting called for tomorrow morning. About you." The walls feel like they're closing in. In just a few hours, Nicole has turned my planned revenge into a fight for professional survival. And she's only getting started. "There's more," Dylan says, looking miserable. "She has recordings, conversations where we all said things we shouldn't have. About clients, about the company. I think of all the late nights, all the venting sessions, all the moments I thought I was among friends. Nicole wasn't just collecting ammunition against me. She was building an arsenal." My phone lights up with a text from Annabelle. "Deal's still on if you want it, but we move now." I look at Dylan, at his guilty face and nervous hands, at the evidence of how completely Nicole had orchestrated my potential downfall, long before I ever thought about orchestrating hers. "I have to go," I tell him, standing up. Because now I know, this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about survival. The boardroom feels like a courtroom, all polished wood and accusatory stares. I sit alone at one end of the long table while Nicole holds court at the other, perfectly composed in a cream blazer that probably costs more than my rent. "These allegations are disturbing," says Marcus, the CEO. "Mia, do you have anything to say in your defense?" Defense, like I'm on trial, which I suppose I am. "I think," I say carefully, "that timing is interesting here. These concerns only surfaced after I began looking into certain accounting irregularities." Nicole's smile doesn't waver, but her knuckles whiten around her water glass. "I think we should focus on the documented issues at hand," she says smoothly. "The pattern of behavior, like the pattern of redirecting project credits?" I interrupt, pulling out my own folder. "I have documentation too, including emails where you specifically instructed team members to remove my name from presentations." A ripple of murmurs around the table. Nicole's smile turns brittle. "I think," says Marcus, "we should take a brief recess." In the hallway, Edison appears like a ghost. "Pearl wants to talk to you," he whispers. "Says it's important. She's in the break room." I find Pearl pacing between the coffee machines, looking like she hasn't slept. When she sees me, her eyes fill with tears. "I'm so sorry," she says. "I should have told you sooner, about everything." "What do you mean, everything?" She pulls out her phone, hands shaking. "Nicole, she doesn't just have recordings of you. She has them of all of us. Everything we've ever said about the company, about clients, about each other. She's been collecting them for years." My stomach drops. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because she played me one last night. A conversation from 2 years ago where I..." Pearl swallows hard. where I admitted to fudging some numbers on the Martinez account. She said if I don't back up her story about you, she'll release it. The pieces click into place. She's blackmailing everyone. Pearl nods miserably. Dylan, Malia, me. We all have something to lose. Something she carefully collected and saved just in case. My phone buzzes. Annabelle. Board meeting's not going well. Time to play our hand? But before I can respond, another message appears. From Nicole. Break room. Now. Alone. I tell Pearl to go. When Nicole arrives minutes later, she's still wearing that perfect smile. You know, she says, I really did love you like a sister. Still do, actually. Funny way of showing it. Oh, please. She rolls her eyes. You think I became successful by being nice? By trusting people? I kept you close because you were useful. Loyal. The perfect sidekick. Until I wasn't. Until you forgot your place. She steps closer. But I'm willing to be generous. Walk away now. Resign quietly. I'll make sure you get a good recommendation. Help you find something new. We can even stay friends. I laugh, the sound harsh in the quiet room. Friends? After everything you've done? I've done? Her smile finally cracks. Who's meeting with my biggest rival? Who's threatening to expose confidential documents? You're not as clean in this as you pretend, Mia. She's right, and we both know it. In trying to escape her shadow, I've started becoming more like her than I ever wanted to admit. Here's what's going to happen. Nicole continues. You're going to go back into that boardroom and admit to everything. Take full responsibility. I'll smooth things over, help minimize the damage. It's the best offer you're going to get. My phone buzzes again. Annabelle. Decision time. I look at Nicole. Really look at her. Behind the perfect exterior, I see something I never noticed before. Fear. She's terrified. Not just of losing control, but of being exposed. Of someone seeing behind the carefully constructed facade. You're right about one thing, I say. I'm not clean in this. But at least I'm not afraid of people seeing who I really am. Her eyes narrow. What's that supposed to mean? Instead of answering, I text Annabelle back. Do it. Nicole's phone chimes immediately. Then everyone else is in the building. Mass email. The color drains from Nicole's face as she reads. Because Annabelle didn't just expose the creative accounting. She exposed everything. Every manipulated project credit. Every blackmail recording. Every carefully orchestrated betrayal. You'll go down with me, Nicole whispers, but there's uncertainty in her voice now. Maybe, I say, heading for the door. But at least I'll go down as myself, not someone's sidekick. I leave her there, staring at her phone as her perfect world crumbles one email at a time. The aftermath feels like a bomb has gone off. Security escorts Nicole from the building while HR sends everyone else home, pending investigation. I sit in my empty office, watching people hurry past with boxes of personal items, avoiding eye contact. Edison appears in my doorway. Malia's crying in the bathroom, he says quietly. Her recording was personal. Things she said about her marriage. Nicole promised she deleted it. The victory I felt an hour ago curdles in my stomach. I didn't know which recordings Annabelle had. I just told her to release everything. I know. He sits across from me. But that's the thing about scorched earth tactics. Everything burns. My phone lights up with messages, mostly from unknown numbers. Former colleagues calling me brave, calling me a traitor, asking why I didn't warn them, telling me I'm just as bad as Nicole. They're not wrong. The board wants to see you, Edison says. And Mia? Dylan's in there too. The walk to the boardroom feels longer than before. Dylan sits hunched in his chair, looking shell-shocked. Marcus stands at the window, his back to us both. Well, he says finally, turning around. This is quite a mess you've created. Sir, He holds up a hand. The good news is, the creative accounting evidence is solid. Nicole's actions were illegal, and the company will be pressing charges. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. The bad news, he continues, is that the collateral damage is extensive. Private conversations exposed. Client relationships compromised. Employee trust shattered. Dylan makes a small, broken sound. And you too. Marcus fixes us with a hard stare. We're at the center of it all. Dylan feeding information to Nicole. Mia feeding information to Annabelle. Both of you choosing nuclear options instead of coming to me directly. We didn't think. Dylan starts. No, you didn't. Marcus sighs. The board has decided that termination is the only option, for both of you. The words hit like physical blows. I knew there would be consequences, but somehow I thought exposing Nicole would protect me, make me the whistleblower instead of the villain. You have an hour to clear out your desks, Marcus says. Security will escort you out. In the elevator, Dylan finally speaks. I loved her, you know, Nicole. That's why I did it. Why I helped her collect all those recordings. I know, I say, because I do. Nicole had a way of making you feel special, chosen, until you weren't. But you know what's really messed up? He laughs bitterly. I think I helped destroy you because I was jealous. You were her real best friend. I was just convenient. The elevator doors open to reveal Pearl waiting in the lobby. When she sees me, her face crumples. How could you? She demands. That recording. My marriage was falling apart. I was drunk and scared and trusted Nicole to delete it. Now everyone knows. My husband knows. Pearl, I'm sorry. No, you're not. Her voice breaks. You're just like her, using people's trust as ammunition. At least Nicole was honest about being a snake. She turns and walks away, heels clicking against marble. Behind me, Dylan silently heads toward his desk. My phone buzzes. Annabelle. Messy, but effective. Let's talk about your future. Dinner tonight? I think about accepting. About turning this nuclear wasteland into a career opportunity. Isn't that what Nicole would do? Instead, I text Edison. Need a drink? Or 10? I find him waiting outside, hands in his pockets. You okay? I destroyed everything, I say. My career, my friendships, people's marriages. All because I couldn't stand being someone's sidekick anymore. No, he says firmly. You exposed real wrongdoing. The method was messy, but I became exactly what I hated. I laugh, the sound edged with hysteria. Nicole collected people's secrets to use as weapons. And what did I do? Use those same weapons. I didn't beat her, Edison. I replaced her. My phone buzzes again. An unknown number, but I recognize the email address in the preview. It's from one of Nicole's other victims, someone from years ago, someone whose career she destroyed, someone who's been waiting for this moment. The message is simple. Ready to finish what you started? Edison reads over my shoulder. Mia, don't. You've done enough. But have I? Nicole's facing charges for the financial fraud, but what about everything else? All the other lives she's ruined? Don't they deserve justice, too? I look at Edison's worried face, then back at my phone. At the chance to either stop this spiral or dive deeper into it. I need to make this right, I say. Which version of right? He asks quietly. Nicole's? Or yours? I wish I knew the answer. The cafe is empty except for me and Nicole's first victim. Rachel looks exactly like her LinkedIn photo from 6 years ago. Sharp features, sharper eyes, the kind of person who doesn't forget. I've been watching you, she says, stirring her untouched coffee. Watching her too, waiting for someone to finally crack her perfect facade. And now that someone has? Now we finish it. Rachel slides a USB drive across the table. This is everything I collected before she destroyed my career. Bank transfers, altered contracts, private emails, things even Annabelle doesn't know about. My hand hovers over the drive. Why didn't you use this yourself? I tried, but Nicole was too powerful, too connected. Nobody would touch it. Rachel's smile is cold. But now, with her reputation in tatters and criminal charges pending, Perfect timing. My phone buzzes. Edison. Where are you? We need to talk. I ignore it. What exactly are you proposing? Release everything, not just the professional dirt, the personal stuff too. Her family's dirty money, her brother's rehab stays, everything she's tried to bury. The cafe door chimes. I look up to see Malia entering, eyes red but determined. Sorry I'm late, she says, sitting down. Had to lose the reporters camping outside my house. Rachel's smile widens. Excellent. I was just showing Mia what we've collected. We? I look between them. Did you think you were the only one Nicole betrayed? Malia's voice is hard. Rachel found me last night, showed me everything. This goes so much deeper than office politics, Mia. My phone buzzes again. Edison. Nicole's been arrested. Things are getting worse. The question, Rachel says, is whether you're ready to go all the way. No more half measures. The USB drive sits between us like a loaded gun. I think about Pearl's marriage, Dylan's broken trust, my own scorched career. This would destroy her completely, I say. Yes. Rachel doesn't blink. That's the point. The cafe door chimes again. This time it's Edison, looking frantic. Mia, thank God. You need to see this. He holds up his phone. A news article about Nicole's arrest. But it's not just about the creative accounting anymore. Somehow the story has shifted. Now it's about a conspiracy. About how I orchestrated everything, manipulated evidence, collaborated with corporate rivals. She's spinning it, Edison says, making herself the victim, and people are believing her. Rachel laughs. Of course they are. It's what she does best. Why do you think I lost everything 6 years ago? My phone explodes with notifications. Social media is catching fire with Nicole's version of events. Former colleagues are posting about how I manipulated them, betrayed their trust. The narrative is slipping away from me. Now do you understand? Malia asks quietly. Why we need to use everything? Edison reads the room. Mia, don't. This isn't justice anymore. It's annihilation. Sometimes they're the same thing, Rachel says. I stare at the USB drive, remembering Nicole's words in the break room. You think I became successful by being nice? No. She became successful by being ruthless. By understanding that sometimes you have to destroy someone completely to ensure they never rise again. Just like I'm considering doing now. If we do this, I say slowly, we're no better than her. Maybe not, Malia replies. But at least we'll win. My phone buzzes one final time. A text from Nicole, sent from wherever they're holding her. You should have taken the deal. Now everyone will see who you really are. I pick up the USB drive, feeling its weight. Inside is enough ammunition to not just destroy Nicole's career, but her entire life. Her family, her future, everything. Just like she would do to me, is already trying to do to me. Mia, Edison says softly. Please. Rachel and Malia watch me expectantly. 2 more women shaped by Nicole's betrayal, waiting to see if I'll become what we all hated. I stand up. No, I say. No? Rachel's eyes narrow. After everything she's done? I won't help you destroy her life. I set the USB drive down. But I will help you tell the truth. The real truth, with real evidence. No personal attacks, no collateral damage, just facts. That's not enough, Malia protests. It has to be. I look at Edison, see the relief in his eyes. Because if we do it her way, we prove her right. About all of us. I walk out before they can argue, Edison following close behind. Outside, the sun is setting over the city, painting everything in shades of gold and shadow. You know they'll release it anyway, he says. I know. I watch a news van drive past, hunting for the next sensational headline. But I won't be part of it. I'm done playing by Nicole's rules. So what's our next move? I smile, feeling lighter than I have in days. We're going to tell my story. All of it, before she can twist it any further. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's truth. The police station's interview room smells like stale coffee and anxiety. Nicole sits across from me, still somehow immaculate despite spending the night in custody. Only her eyes reveal the cracks in her armor. They're fever bright, desperate. "Come to gloat?" she asks. "No." I set my phone on the table between us, recording app open. "I came to give you a choice." Her lawyer shifts uncomfortably beside her but doesn't speak. We both know this isn't a legal conversation. "Rachel and Malia want to release everything," I continue. "Not just the work stuff, everything." Something flickers across Nicole's face, the first real fear I've seen from her. "You wouldn't." I wouldn't. But they would. I lean forward. "Unless you tell the truth. All of it. Starting with what really happened 6 years ago with Rachel." Nicole laughs, but it's brittle. "And why would I do that?" "Because deep down, you're tired, aren't you? Tired of maintaining the perfect facade. Tired of keeping track of all the lies and manipulations. Tired of seeing enemies in every shadow. You don't know anything about me. I know everything about you. 10 years of everything." I tap my phone. "So here's the choice. Tell your story, the real story, or let Rachel tell it for you." The lawyer whispers something in her ear. She ignores him. "You really want to know the truth?" Nicole's voice drops to a whisper. I was terrified. All the time. Of being exposed as a fraud. Of people seeing through me, so I collected their secrets before they could collect mine. Kept everyone off balance so they couldn't see how scared I was. The confession hangs in the air between us. Outside, I hear footsteps in the hallway, voices murmuring. Rachel was the first one who saw through me. Nicole continues. She was going to expose everything. So I destroyed her first. And it worked so well, I just kept going. It was easier than being vulnerable. "And me?" "You." Her smile turned sad. "You were the worst threat of all, because you saw the real me and loved me anyway. Like a sister. Until you didn't." The door opens. Edison steps in, right on schedule. "It's done," he says quietly. Nicole's eyes dart between us. "What's done?" I slide my phone across the table, open to a news website. The headline reads, "Exclusive. Former executive tells all. A story of power, fear, and redemption." "Your confession just went live," I say. "The real story. Not the twisted version you've been spinning or the nuclear option Rachel wanted. Just the truth." The color drains from her face as she reads, every word from the last 5 minutes, transcribed and published. Her vulnerability, her fear, her humanity. "You can't," she starts. "I already did." I stand up. "The world doesn't see you as a monster anymore, Nicole. Just a scared, broken person who hurt people because she was hurting. That's your punishment. Being seen. Really seen." "You've ruined me," she whispers. "No, I've freed you. And me. And everyone else you tried to control." I head for the door, then pause. "Oh, and those personal files Rachel and Malia wanted to release? I destroyed them this morning. Some secrets deserve to stay buried." Edison follows me out. In the hallway, my phone is already exploding with notifications. The story is spreading, but not the way Nicole feared. People are sharing their own stories of workplace manipulation, of toxic friendships, of finding the courage to be vulnerable. "You okay?" Edison asks softly. "No," I admit. "But I will be." My phone buzzes with a text from Pearl. "Just read the article. Can we talk?" Then Malia. "You were right. This was better. Even Rachel. Not what I wanted, but maybe what I needed." "What now?" Edison asks as we step into the sunlight. I think about Nicole, sitting alone in that interview room, finally seen for who she really is. About how freedom sometimes comes from letting go of revenge. Now? I smile. Now I stop being anyone's sidekick. including my own. He takes my hand, and for the first time, I let him. Because that's the thing about stepping out of someone's shadow. You finally get to choose your own light. My phone buzzes one last time. A message from Nicole. I'm sorry for everything, and thank you. I don't respond. Some stories don't need another chapter. Sometimes the best ending is simply walking away, head held high, into whatever comes next. Edison squeezes my hand. Ready? I look back at the police station one last time, then forward at the city sprawling before us. Ready. Because the best revenge isn't destruction or exposure or even truth. It's living well, on your own terms, in your own story. Finally, I'm ready to write mine. The morning sun streams through my apartment windows as I pack the last of my office things into boxes. My phone lights up with another job offer, the 5th this week. Ever since the article went viral, companies have been scrambling to show they take workplace toxicity seriously. I delete it without reading. Edison brings me coffee, watching as I pick up the black dress from my birthday party. Keep it or donate? Burn it, I say, then pause. No, actually, I have a better idea. An hour later, I'm standing outside a women's shelter, boxes of designer clothes in my arms. Everything Nicole ever chose for me. The shelter director, Maria, greets me with a knowing smile. Interview outfits, I explain, for women starting over. As we sort through the clothes, my phone buzzes. Pearl. Coffee? Found a new place? No memories there. I meet her at a tiny cafe in a neighborhood I've never visited. She looks different, lighter somehow, despite the shadows under her eyes. The divorce papers came through yesterday, she says without preamble. Turns out the recording wasn't what ended my marriage. It just made me finally face what I already knew. I'm sorry. Don't be. She stirs her coffee. I'm starting a support group for people recovering from toxic relationships, romantic, professional, whatever. Was wondering if you'd come speak. Before I can answer, my phone lights up with a news alert. Tech startup announces major leadership changes. Former executive Nicole Diaz pleads guilty, agrees to industry ban. Pearl reads it over my shoulder. Is it weird that I feel sorry for her? No, I say. I do too. But not sorry enough to let her back in. Speaking of letting people in, Pearl's eyes drift to something behind me. Isn't that Edison? He's outside the cafe window, pretending to be fascinated by a newspaper stand. I haven't seen him since that day at the police station, since that moment of almost something between us. Go, Pearl says softly. Some stories deserve a new chapter. I find him still studying headlines. Anything interesting? Just this story about a woman who chose truth over revenge. He looks up, smiling. Pretty compelling stuff. I heard she's still figuring out her next move. Any ideas? I think about Pearl's support group, about Maria's shelter, about all the messages I've received from people sharing similar stories. Actually, yes. I pull out my phone, show him the website I've been building. A platform for people to share their experiences, resources for recognizing manipulation, legal aid contacts, a place to find your voice when someone's tried to silence it. Not exactly the corporate comeback people are expecting. Good. I close the browser. I'm done meeting expectations, especially other people's. My phone buzzes. Malia wanting to grab lunch. Then Rachel asking about collaborating on a workplace ethics workshop. Even Dylan apologizing again, seeking redemption. Looks like you're in demand, Edison says. Looks like I'm exactly where I need to be. A final message comes through. From Nicole's brother, of all people. She's starting therapy, he writes. Real therapy this time. Says you showed her there's strength in being seen. I delete the message without responding. Some bridges stay burned, and that's okay. So, Edison says, taking my hand. What's next? I look at our reflection in the cafe window. No designer clothes, no carefully curated image, just me. Finally, completely me. First, coffee, I say. Then we build something real. Together? Together. I squeeze his hand, but not as sidekicks. We walk into the cafe where Pearl waits, where new possibilities simmer like fresh coffee, where the morning light turns everything golden. My phone stays quiet in my pocket. Not because there aren't messages coming in, but because I'm finally choosing which voices to hear. And for the first time since my birthday, since that rooftop revelation that shattered everything, I feel truly, completely free. Not because I destroyed my enemy, but because I refused to become her. Because I chose to write my own story, even when others tried to edit it. Pearl waves us over, already pulling out chairs. Edison's hand stays warm in mine. Outside, the city pulses with millions of stories waiting to be told. This one's mine. And I'm just getting started.
The call came during my morning coffee ritual, right as I was settling into my home office with my third espresso. The realtor's voice bubbled with enthusiasm that made my stomach turn. Ms. Richards, I wanted to personally congratulate you on your offer being accepted. The sellers were particularly impressed with your letter about making their historic mansion your forever home. I gripped my mug tighter, coffee sloshing over the rim. I'm sorry, what mansion? The Wellington estate, the $6 million property you toured last week? Her voice wavered. You are Samantha Richards, correct? I am, but I never... The words died in my throat as my laptop pinged with a new email. Subject line, purchase agreement, 47 Wellington Drive. My hands trembled as I opened the attachment. There it was in black and white. My name, my social security number, my signature. A signature I'd never made. I need to call you back, I managed, ending the call before she could respond. 3 more emails flooded in rapid succession. A mortgage approval, insurance quotes, a moving company confirmation. All under my name, all perfectly forged. I knew that precise, elegant handwriting. I'd admired it for years in birthday cards, coffee shop notes, shared grocery lists. Vivienne, my best friend's betrayal hit like a physical blow. The room tilted sideways as my mind raced through 1,000 little moments. Her casual questions about my finances, her increasing interest in my personal documents when she'd stay over, the way she'd insisted on handling the mail when I was sick last month. My phone buzzed. A text from Vivienne herself. Lunch today? That new place on 4th you mentioned? My fingers hovered over the screen. The casual normalcy of her message made me want to scream. Instead, I typed, can't today, dealing with some interesting calls about property I supposedly bought. 3 dots appeared immediately. Disappeared. Reappeared. Finally. Oh God, Sam, I can explain everything. The coffee I'd drunk curdled in my stomach. I'd known Vivienne for 12 years, held her hand through her divorce, celebrated every career win, trusted her with every secret, every fear, every dream I'd ever had. My phone rang again, the bank this time. I let it go to voicemail, too focused on the mounting evidence on my screen. Each new document showed a more elaborate web of deception. Multiple credit cards, investment accounts, even a business loan. Another text from Vivienne. Please let me explain in person. It's not what you think. But I knew exactly what it was. Every time she'd crashed at my place after too many drinks, every casual dinner where she'd insisted on clearing the table, every moment she'd distracted me while rifling through my life, it had all been calculated, planned. My hands shook as I pulled up my banking app. Access denied. Invalid password. I tried again. Same result. Your account has been locked due to suspicious activity. Please visit your local branch. The walls of my office felt like they were closing in. I'd built my freelance design business from nothing, saved every penny, protected my perfect credit score like it was a precious jewel, and in what seemed like minutes, it was all crumbling. My phone buzzed again. Vivienne had sent a voice message. I pressed play before I could stop myself. Sammy, please. Her voice broke. I know how this looks, but I had no choice. You have to understand. I deleted it before she could finish. Another email notification popped up. This one from Ryder, Vivienne's husband. Hey Sam, V's really upset about something but won't tell me what's wrong. Have you two had a fight? Sweet, oblivious Ryder. Did he know his wife was a con artist? Was he part of it? My cursor hovered over the reply button when a new email caught my eye. Subject line: Change of address confirmation, 47 Wellington Drive. The message contained a single line: Primary resident, Vivian Phillips. The pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. She hadn't just stolen my identity, she'd stolen my entire life and planned to live it herself. My phone lit up with another call from the bank. This time I answered. Ms. Richards, the fraud department representative began, we've detected some unusual activity. Let me guess, I cut in, my voice steadier than I felt. Someone's trying to transfer my entire life savings. A pause. Actually, yes. The request came in about 3 minutes ago. I closed my eyes, seeing Vivian's perfectly practiced signature dancing behind my eyelids. Don't let that transfer go through. I'm on my way to the branch right now. I grabbed my keys, my mind already racing ahead to what came next, because this wasn't just about money anymore. This was about something far more precious, my identity. And I was going to make damn sure Vivian understood exactly what it felt like to have your life stolen out from under you. The bank lobby felt like a fishbowl, all glass walls and watchful eyes. I gripped the stack of printed emails in my sweating palms, willing my hands to stop shaking. The branch manager's nameplate read, Patricia, but her eyes said, skeptic, as she reviewed my driver's license for the 3rd time. And you say this Vivian person has access to your home? Had access? I pulled out my phone, showing her the text thread. I changed the locks an hour ago, but she's been staying over regularly for months, ever since her supposed separation from her husband. Patricia's eyebrows lifted. Supposed? My stomach clenched as another piece clicked into place. I pulled up Instagram, finding the photo from 3 weeks ago, Vivian and me at our favorite wine bar, celebrating what she'd called her fresh start after moving out from Ryder's place. But there, in the background of another patron's photo posted the same night, was Ryder himself, with Vivian, at a different restaurant across town. Oh God. The room swayed. She's been lying about everything. Patricia's expression softened. Ms. Richards, I've frozen all your accounts and flagged any new credit applications. But you need to understand, the damage here is extensive. Someone has been methodically building this facade for months, maybe longer. My phone buzzed. Madison. I'd texted her on my way to the bank, but seeing her name now made my chest tight. She was my oldest friend, even before Vivian. What if she'd been in on it too? I have to take this, I mumbled, stepping away from Patricia's desk. Sam? Madison's voice crackled with concern. What the hell is going on? Vivian just called me crying, saying you're accusing her of some crazy things. Did you know? The words came out sharper than intended. All those girls' nights when she crashed at my place. Did you know she was going through my things? What? No, Sam, slow down. What are you talking about? I told her everything. The mansion, the loans, the fake separation from Ryder. With each detail, my voice grew steadier, anger replacing shock. Jesus Christ. Madison's horror sounded genuine. The charity gala photos. What photos? Last month, when she insisted on handling the social media for your design business, she posted all those pictures of you two at that black tie event, remember? I hadn't attended any gala, but I remembered Vivienne showing me the photos. Me in a black dress, her in blue, both of us laughing with champagne flutes. Except, those were photoshopped, I whispered. She needed them to establish a public timeline, to make it look like I was involved in all of this. Sam. Madison's voice dropped. Check your business Instagram, now. I pulled it up, scrolling through months of posts I hadn't made, photos I hadn't taken, client testimonials I'd never received, an entire parallel business life, carefully curated to support whatever story Vivian was crafting. She's been building my reputation in circles I've never even heard of, I said, nausea rising. High-end clients, luxury brands. The mansion makes more sense now, doesn't it? Madison's tone hardened. She needed your identity to match the lifestyle she was creating. My phone pinged with another message. Ryder again. Hey, are you coming to dinner tonight? V says she's making your favorite pasta. The casual domesticity of his message made me want to scream. Did he really not know, or was he just a better actor than I'd given him credit for? Madison, I said, watching Patricia wave urgently from her desk. I have to go, but I need you to do something for me. Find out everything you can about Ryder's business. If Vivian's been playing this game with my life. You think she's doing the same to him? Madison finished. I'm on it. And Sam, don't confront her alone. Promise me. I ended the call as Patricia gestured me over. Her face had gone pale. Ms. Richards, we've found something else. She turned her monitor toward me. These transactions, dating back 6 months, regular transfers from your business account to an offshore holding company. The numbers blurred before my eyes. Hundreds of thousands of dollars, siphoned away so gradually I hadn't noticed. The company name, Patricia continued, is registered to a V. Phillips. My phone lit up with one final text from Vivian. Dinner at 7. We really need to talk. I can fix all of this, Sammy. Trust me one last time. Trust. Such a small word for such a devastating weapon. I thought of all the times I'd trusted her, all the ways she'd used that trust to dismantle my life piece by piece. Well, 2 could play at that game. I typed back, dinner sounds perfect. Can't wait to hear everything. Sometimes the only way to catch a liar is to tell a better lie. I sat in my car, outside Vivian's favorite Italian restaurant, watching my hands grip the steering wheel until my knuckles went white. 7 o'clock loomed 15 minutes away. Through the window, I could see her already at our usual table, sipping wine like she hadn't just demolished my entire life. My phone buzzed. Madison's update. Ryder's company records show some weird patterns, large consulting fees to shell companies. Started around the same time V moved in with him. Another piece of the puzzle. I typed back. She's not just stealing identities. She's building a whole network. Sam, please tell me you're not actually meeting her. I watched Vivian check her phone, tuck a perfect strand of hair behind her ear. The gesture was so familiar it hurt. I need to understand why. At least let me come as backup. No, I need to do this alone. I turned off my phone before Madison could argue further. The restaurant's warmth hit me like a wall as I stepped inside. Vivian stood, arms outstretched for our usual hug. I stepped back, watching her face fall. Sammy, don't. My voice came out steadier than I felt. Just tell me why. She sank into her chair, fingers tracing the wineglass stem. It's complicated. Try me. I needed... She paused, choosing her words carefully. I needed to become someone better. Someone like you. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. So you decided to become me? You don't understand. Your life, your business, your reputation. You make it all look so effortless. I just wanted... to steal it. I pulled out my phone, showing her the offshore account details. To drain my accounts, to take over my identity. Her face went still. Something shifted behind her eyes, the mask slipping. You weren't supposed to find out so soon. That's your response? Not I'm sorry or I'll fix this, but you weren't supposed to know yet. A waiter approached. Vivian ordered another wine with perfect poise. I ordered nothing. The mansion closes next week, she said after he left. I can explain everything to Ryder then. Make it right. Make it right? The words tasted like ash. You've been lying to him too. Those consulting fees from his company. Her head snapped up. How did you... I have friends too, Vivian. Real ones. Something dangerous flashed across her face. Be careful, Sammy. You're not the only one with things to lose. The threat hung between us like smoke. I thought of the photos she'd doctored, the social media presence she'd crafted in my name. How easy it would be for her to destroy my reputation with a few strategic posts. Why the elaborate scheme? I asked, buying time. Why not just, I don't know, ask for help? She laughed, the sound genuine enough to send chills down my spine. Help, like you helped Gavin. The name hit me like a physical blow. Gavin, my ex, the one who'd chosen his addiction over our relationship, the one I'd tried to save until it nearly destroyed me. That was different. Was it? Vivian leaned forward. You tried to fix him, control him, mold him into what you thought he should be. Sound familiar? My hands shook under the table. I was trying to save someone I loved, and I'm trying to save myself. She took another sip of wine. We're not so different, you and I. We both want to shape the world to fit our vision. I'm just better at it. The waiter returned. Vivian ordered her usual pasta, with the practiced ease of someone who belonged, who had always belonged. Here's what's going to happen, she said once he left. You're going to go home and forget about the mansion, the accounts, all of it. In return, I won't have to show everyone the real Samantha Richards. The real me? She pulled out her phone, turned it to show me emails I'd never seen, conversations I'd never had, business dealings that walked the line of legality, all apparently in my name. Amazing what you can create with the right passwords and a little imagination. Her smile was almost gentle. So what's it going to be, Sammy? Your reputation or your revenge? I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. You know what the difference is between us, Vivienne. When I tried to save Gavin, I was trying to keep him alive. You're just trying to steal a life you were too lazy to build yourself. Her smile froze. For a moment I saw something crack in her perfect facade. Not guilt or shame, but pure, cold fury. 3 days, she said, to decide if you want to play nice. I walked out of the restaurant on legs that barely held me. In my car, I finally let out the breath I'd been holding and pulled out my phone. A text from an unknown number waited. Heard you're looking into V. I have information you need. Meet tomorrow. The sender's profile picture showed a familiar face. Scarlett, Ryder's sister. Maybe I wasn't as alone in this as Vivian thought. The coffee shop Scarlett chose was deliberately far from her brother's usual haunts. I spotted her in the corner, red hair hidden under a baseball cap, shoulders hunched over her laptop. She looked nothing like the polished Instagram photos from Ryder's family gatherings. You're not what I expected, she said as I sat down. Let me guess. Vivian's version of me is different. Scarlett's mouth twisted. According to her, you're an unstable ex-business partner having a mental breakdown. She's got Ryder convinced you're dangerous. My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. And you don't believe her? I've been tracking her lies for months. Scarlett turned her laptop toward me. Look at these dates. The screen showed bank statements, property records, business filings, a tangled web with Vivian at the center. But something else caught my eye. These go back 3 years, I said. Before she even met Ryder. Before she met any of us. Scarlett's voice hardened. Her real name isn't even Vivian Phillips. It's... A chair scraped nearby. We both jumped as Madison slid into the seat between us. Sorry I'm late, she said, ignoring my glare. Traffic was hell. I told you not to come, I hissed, and I told you not to face this alone. Madison turned to Scarlett. So, what do we know? Scarlett glanced between us before continuing. She's done this before. Different names, different cities. She finds successful women, studies them, becomes them, then drains everything they have. But why me? The question had been burning since this started. I'm not exactly wealthy. It's not about money this time. Scarlett pulled up another document. Look at the pattern. Each woman she targeted was more established than the last. Better connected. She's building something bigger. Madison leaned forward. The charity gala photos. Exactly. Scarlett nodded. She's using Sam's reputation to access circles she couldn't reach before. The mansion, the fake business deals. It's all about making connections. My phone buzzed. Ryder. We need to talk. V told me everything. How could you do this to her? She's moving faster now, I said, showing them the message. She knows we're onto her. She's not the only one moving faster. Madison pulled out her own phone. Remember that private investigator friend I mentioned? He found something interesting about Vivian's past. Before she could continue, the coffee shop door chimed. Ryder walked in, scanning the room with purpose. Down, Scarlett hissed, grabbing her laptop. We ducked behind our menus as her brother passed our table. That was close, Madison whispered once he'd ordered and taken a seat by the window. We should go. Wait. I watched Ryder pull out his phone, his face troubled as he typed. Look at him. He's worried, but not angry. Whatever Vivian told him, part of him doubts it. Sam, no. Madison grabbed my arm. Don't. But I was already standing, walking toward him, before I could second-guess myself. His eyes widened as I approached. Can we talk? I kept my voice low. Just for a minute? He glanced at his phone, then back at me. V says you're having some kind of breakdown, that you're making up stories about her. Does that sound like me, Ryder? In all the years you've known me? Uncertainty flickered across his face. She showed me emails, things she wrote in my name. I sat down across from him. Just like the consulting fees she's been charging your company. His coffee cup froze halfway to his mouth. What fees? Check your corporate accounts. Look for payments to shell companies starting 3 months ago, right after she moved in. This is crazy. But he was already pulling up his banking app. I watched the color drain from his face as he scrolled. She's not who you think she is, I said gently. She's not who any of us thought she was. His phone lit up with Vivian's face. He stared at it, finger hovering over the answer button. Whatever she's told you about me, I continued, standing up, ask yourself why she waited until now to say it, and maybe ask your sister what she knows. I walked away before he could respond, rejoining Madison and Scarlett. That was risky, Madison said as we hurried out the back exit. But necessary, Scarlett added, checking her phone. Ryder just texted me. He wants to meet, alone. My own phone buzzed. Vivian again. You just couldn't help yourself, could you? Fine. Let's see how you handle this. Seconds later, notifications started flooding in. Social media alerts, email warnings, text messages from clients. She was making her move. She's posting those fake emails, I said, watching my carefully built reputation crumble in real time. She's burning everything down. No, Madison corrected, her face grim as she showed me her PI friend's message. She's forcing your hand because now we know what she's really after, and it's bigger than just you or Ryder. The message contained a single photo, Vivienne, under a different name, standing next to one of the city's most powerful tech CEOs. This wasn't just about stealing my life, it was about using it as a stepping stone to something much more dangerous. My apartment felt like a crime scene. Every surface reminded me of Vivienne. The throw pillows she'd helped choose, the wine glasses we'd used for countless girls' nights. The framed photos I now knew were part of her long con. I was packing them all away when the knock came. I froze, heart pounding, but it was Gavin's voice that called through the door. Sam, you in there? Of course. Vivian would have contacted him too. I opened the door to find him looking exactly as I remembered. Leather jacket, worried eyes, that slight tension in his jaw that meant he was trying to figure something out. Your social media is going nuclear, he said, stepping inside. Want to tell me what's really going on? Depends. Did Vivian already give you her version? He pulled out his phone, showing me a rambling message. According to this, you're having some sort of psychological break, accusing her of elaborate conspiracies. And you don't believe her. I know what a psychological break looks like, Sam. I lived one, remember? His smile was sad. This isn't it. I sank onto my couch, suddenly exhausted. She's destroying everything, Gav. My business, my reputation, my whole life. Yeah, about that. He sat beside me, pulling up something on his phone. Remember that tech startup I've been consulting for? The one looking to go public? I nodded, not seeing the connection. Their CEO had a meeting last week with someone claiming to be you, offering to handle their entire rebranding. My stomach dropped. Let me guess, the meeting was set up by Vivienne? Through a series of very impressive connections, yes. The contract would have been worth millions. He paused. The CEO's name is James Morton. The name hit me like a thunderbolt. The same James Morton from the photo. What photo? I showed him Madison's PI findings. Gavin's expression darkened. Son of a bitch, he muttered. She's not just stealing identities. She's using them to get inside information before companies go public. My phone buzzed. Ryder calling. I answered on speaker. Sam? His voice was rough. I talked to Scarlett. Check those accounts you mentioned. There's something else you need to see. I'm with Gavin, I said. He found a connection to James Morton. A sharp intake of breath. That's what I'm calling about. V just left for an emergency meeting with Morton's board. She's using my company credentials to get in. When? Now. She left 10 minutes ago. I was already grabbing my keys. Send me the address. Sam, wait. Gavin caught my arm. You can't just burst into a corporate board meeting. Watch me. No, he's right, Ryder said through the phone. But I can get you in. I'm still listed as her emergency contact. I'll tell security she forgot crucial documents. I'm coming with you, Gavin said as I headed for the door. Gav, you're not the only one she's used. His voice was steel. Those consulting fees she charged Ryder. They went through my old firm's accounts. She's been setting me up too. My phone lit up with another message. Madison. PI found more. V's not working alone. Someone high up is protecting her. As if on cue, my email pinged. A message from an anonymous account contained a single video file. I clicked play. It was security footage from my building's lobby, dated 3 months ago. It showed Vivian letting herself in at 3 a.m. using my key. But she wasn't alone. A man in an expensive suit accompanied her, his face carefully turned away from the cameras. Freeze that frame, Gavin said, leaning closer. The watch he's wearing, that's a limited edition, Morton's signature piece. The pieces clicked together with sickening clarity. She's not infiltrating his company. She's working for him. Using stolen identities to gather inside information, Gavin finished. Then when it all falls apart, the women she impersonated take the fall. My voice sounded distant to my own ears. That's why she's burning my reputation now. She's setting me up to take the blame. Ryder's voice crackled through the phone. Security badge is waiting at the front desk. But Sam, be careful. If Morton's involved... I know. I grabbed my coat. This isn't just about Vivian anymore. It never was, Gavin said quietly. My phone buzzed one final time. Vivian. Last chance, Sammy. Walk away now, or what happens next is your fault. I stared at her message, remembering every laugh we'd shared, every secret confided, every moment I'd thought was real. She'd played me perfectly, using my trust against me. Now she was about to do the same to others, leaving a trail of destroyed lives in her wake. Let's go, I told Gavin, heading for the door. It's time to show Vivian what happens when you underestimate the life you tried to steal. Morton Technologies loomed above us, all glass and steel stretching into the evening sky. The security guard barely glanced at my borrowed badge, too busy watching Gavin's careful distraction about a misplaced laptop. Years of addiction had taught him how to command attention while being forgettable, a skill I never thought I'd be grateful for. 14th floor, Ryder's voice crackled through my earpiece. Boardroom CV's presentation starts in 10 minutes. My heels clicked against marble as I strode toward the elevators, projecting the confidence I'd seen Vivian wear like armor. Inside, my heart thundered. Security feed is looping, Madison added through the earpiece. But Sam, there's something else. The PI just sent more photos. That man with V, he's been spotted with 3 other women in the past year. All of them, let me guess, I cut in, watching floor numbers climb. All of them faced fraud charges shortly after. All of them took plea deals, disappeared completely. The elevator doors opened on 12. A familiar figure stepped in, scarlet, wearing a catering uniform. "Ryder called," she said quietly. "Thought you could use backup." "How did you—" "I used to work events here. Still have friends in the kitchen." She handed me a coffee cup, empty except for a small USB drive. "Everything we found on V and Morton, plus the security footage. Ready to go public the second you give the signal." The elevator chimed. 14. "Showtime," Scarlett whispered, wheeling her cart out. I followed the signs to Boardroom C, my reflection ghosting along the glass walls. For a moment, I caught a glimpse of myself, as Vivienne must have seen me. Successful, confident, worth becoming, worth destroying. Voices drifted from the partially open door. "The Richards portfolio demonstrates our ability to penetrate key market segments," Vivienne was saying. "Our research suggests—" I pushed the door open. "Your research? That's an interesting way to describe identity theft." The room froze. 12 board members turned to stare. Vivienne's perfect smile flickered for just a fraction of a second. "Sam," she recovered smoothly. "I'm so glad you could join us. Everyone, this is Samantha Richards, my former partner. She's been having some difficulties lately." "Difficulties?" I stepped forward, holding up the USB drive. "Like discovering how you and James here have been running this con across multiple companies." Morton stood, his expensive watch glinting. "Security." "Won't come," Scarlett called from the doorway. "They're a bit busy with a situation in the lobby. Something about suspicious trading activity reports?" Vivienne's mask cracked. Real fear flashed across her face. "It's over," I said quietly. "The evidence is already backing up to multiple servers. Every identity you've stolen, every life you've ruined." "Ruined?" Vivienne laughed, the sound brittle. "I made them better, just like I made you better. Who was calling about the Wellington mansion before I stepped in? Which luxury brands were fighting for your designs? Those weren't my designs. They weren't my life. They could have been." She stepped closer, her voice dropping. "We could still make this work, Sammy. Think about it. Your talent, my connections. We'd be unstoppable." For a moment I saw it. The seductive ease of letting Vivienne craft a perfect life, of riding her wave of carefully constructed success. No more struggling for clients, no more second-guessing every decision. "Ms. Richards," Morton cut in smoothly, "perhaps we should discuss this privately. I'm sure we can come to an arrangement that benefits everyone." The board members shifted uncomfortably. One reached for his phone. "An arrangement?" I turned to them. "Like the ones you made with Catherine Wells, Maria Delgado, Sarah Foster, all those women who mysteriously faced federal charges after meeting with you?" Morton's practiced smile vanished. "That's enough." "No," Vivienne snapped, surprising everyone. "It's not enough. It's never enough for her. Little Sammy, always so righteous, so determined to do things the hard way." She grabbed my arm, fingers digging in. "You want to know why I chose you? Because you were safe, predictable, so desperate to believe in people that you never saw the knife coming." "V," Morton warned, "don't. You think this is about stealing your life?" She laughed again, harder. "I could have taken anyone's identity. I chose yours because you were perfect. Just successful enough to be useful, just trusting enough to be easy. And now you're going to lose everything, just like the others." The room had gone deadly quiet. I smiled. "Say that again," I said softly. "But this time, remember, you're still wearing the wire Scarlett planted on you during your emergency bathroom break." Vivienne's face went white. Behind her, Morton was already moving toward the door, where Gavin stood waiting with 2 FBI agents. "Turns out," I said, watching comprehension dawn in her eyes, "I'm not as predictable as you thought." The next few minutes were chaos. Agents reading rights, board members shouting, Morton demanding lawyers. But I couldn't look away from Vivienne's face as her perfect world crumbled. Because in the end, she'd been right about one thing. I was desperate to believe in people. I just believed in the right ones this time. The FBI's interview room felt smaller by the hour. I'd given my statement twice, signed countless documents, and still they wanted more. But I couldn't leave, not while Vivienne was in the next room, spinning her own version of events. "Just one more question," Agent Torres said, sliding another photo across the table. "When did you first suspect Mrs. Phillips wasn't who she claimed to be?" I stared at the image, Vivienne and me at my birthday party last year, both laughing at something now forgotten. She was exactly who she claimed to be. That was the problem. A knock interrupted us. Madison poked her head in. "Sorry, but you need to see this." She held up her phone, showing a live stream from outside the federal building. Reporters swarmed around a familiar figure, Ryder, looking shell-shocked as cameras flashed. "My wife is innocent," his voice crackled through the speaker. "Samantha Richards is the one who—" I switched it off, my hands shaking. He still believes her. "Men like Ryder," Agent Torres said gently, "sometimes need to learn the hard way." Another agent appeared at the door. "She's asking for you." My stomach clenched. "Vivienne?" "Says she'll only give her full statement to you." Madison grabbed my arm. "Sam, don't. She's trying to manipulate you again." But I was already standing. "That's counting on it." The walk to the other interview room felt like crossing a tightrope. Through the observation window, I saw Vivienne, still perfect, still poised, despite hours of questioning. Only the slight smudge of her mascara betrayed any distress. "Remember," Agent Torres whispered, "we're right outside. Don't let her—" "I know who she is now," I cut in. "That's all I need." Vivienne's smile bloomed as I entered. "Sammy, I knew you'd come. Drop the act, V. It's over." "Is it?" She leaned forward, chains clinking softly. "Ryder's out there right now defending me. The board members are already calling their lawyers. And you're about to lose everything you worked for." "You mean everything you stole?" "Borrowed," she corrected. "Enhanced. Made better." "Tell me something. How many new clients have inquired since those fake designs went up? How many opportunities opened up?" I hesitated. She saw it, pressed harder. "We could still salvage this. Tell them Morton forced me, that I was protecting you by keeping you in the dark, with your testimony. Like the other women testified?" I pulled out my phone, showing her the photos Madison's PI had found. Catherine Wells, Maria Delgado, Sarah Foster, all convinced to take the fall, all destroyed. Something flickered behind her eyes. They were weak. They were real. Unlike everything about you. "Real?" She laughed, the sound like breaking glass. "You want to talk about real? Tell me, Sammy, what was real about your perfect little life, working yourself to death for clients who didn't appreciate you, crying over Gavin every time he relapsed? At least I made your life interesting. You made it a lie." "I made it better." She surged forward, mask finally cracking. "Everything I did, every identity I borrowed, I improved them. Gave them the success they were too scared to grab for themselves, just like I did for you." "No." I met her eyes steadily. "You didn't improve my life, Vivienne. You just showed me who I really want to be." Confusion crossed her face. "Someone who trusts even after betrayal," I continued. "Someone who builds things instead of stealing them. Someone real." "Real gets you nothing," she spat. "Real gets you left behind." "Really? Because from where I'm sitting, real got me a team of friends who helped take you down. Real got me the strength to face you. Real got me here, while you're wearing handcuffs." Her composure shattered completely. "You think you've won? By tomorrow, every news outlet will have evidence of your fraud. Your clients will run. Your reputation will survive," I cut in. "Because unlike you, I actually did the work. Built the relationships, earned the trust. Everything you stole. I lived it." I stood, watching her perfect facade crumble into desperate fury. "Goodbye, Vivienne, or whatever your real name is." "Sam," she called as I reached the door. "You're making a mistake. I'm the best friend you've ever had." I turned back one last time. "No, you're just the best lesson." Outside, Madison waited with Gavin and Scarlett. Through the window, we watched Vivienne's mask finally dissolve into raw, ugly rage. "You okay?" Madison asked softly. I took a deep breath, feeling lighter than I had in months. "I am now." My phone buzzed, a text from Ryder. "Just saw the evidence, I'm so sorry. Can we talk?" "What are you going to tell him?" Gavin asked, reading over my shoulder. I smiled, thinking of all the real conversations ahead, all the genuine connections waiting to be built. "The truth," I said. "It's the one thing Vivienne never understood the power of." The Wellington estate looked different in the morning light, no longer a symbol of Vivienne's deception, but something else entirely. I stood at the iron gates, watching the real estate agent's car approach. "Ms. Richards," she looked nervous. "After everything in the news, I wasn't sure you'd come. Neither was I." I followed her up the winding driveway. But something about this place wouldn't let me go. Inside, sunlight streamed through tall windows, illuminating spaces Vivienne had planned to fill with her stolen life. My stolen life. But standing here now, I saw something she hadn't. Potential. My phone buzzed. "Madison, court just released the asset freeze. Your accounts are yours again." Another text followed immediately. "Please tell me you're not actually considering it." I smiled, remembering our conversation last night. The idea had seemed crazy then too, but the more I thought about it, the more right it felt. The agent cleared her throat. "The sellers were horrified about the previous situation. They've authorized me to offer a significant discount given the circumstances." "How significant?" She named a figure that made my breath catch. Less than half what Vivienne had arranged. Still steep, but with my newly unfrozen accounts, my legitimate business revenues, and the advance from the book deal Madison had negotiated. "There's something else you should know," the agent added. "Another interested party toured yesterday. They're prepared to make an offer." "Let me guess, James Morton's wife?" The agent's eyes widened. "How did you—" "Because some people never learn." I pulled out my phone, showing her the message I'd received that morning from Agent Torres. Morton's wife had visited him in custody, then immediately begun moving assets, starting the cycle again. "I'll need to see the basement," I said. The agent blinked. "The basement? Where else would you put a design studio?" Understanding dawned on her face. "You're not just buying it to live in. This house represents everything Vivienne tried to steal." I ran my hand along the solid wooden banister. She saw it as a trophy. I see it as a foundation. My phone lit up again. "Ryder, just finished at the FBI. Everything you said about V's previous identities checked out. I was such a fool." "You weren't a fool," I typed back. "You just loved someone who didn't exist." His response came quickly. "Like you did." "No," I replied. "I loved the idea of someone. You loved a performance. There's a difference." The agent led me through the rest of the house, rooms Vivienne had planned to fill with artificial perfection, but I saw something different. Workshop spaces for aspiring designers, meeting rooms for clients who needed genuine collaboration, not empty promises. A place where real things could grow. My phone buzzed one final time. An email from the prison where they held Vivienne. Subject line: "I understand now." I almost deleted it unread, but something made me open it. "Dear Sammy, they're transferring me tomorrow. Before I go, I needed you to know, I chose you because you were everything I couldn't be. Genuine, trusted, real. I thought wearing your life would make me those things too. I was wrong. Don't waste your time replying. Just be better than I was. V. Ms. Richards." The agent touched my arm. "Should I prepare the paperwork?" Through the window, I watched Scarlett's car pull up. She'd offered to help plan the studio space, turning her event planning skills towards something constructive. Behind her, Madison's car arrived. My friend who'd never stopped believing in me, even when I doubted myself. Gavin would come later with his construction contacts, ready to help transform this space of deception into something authentic. Even Ryder had offered his business expertise, seeking redemption through honest work. "Ms. Richards," the agent prompted again. I took one last look around, at the house Vivian had tried to claim, at the life she'd tried to steal, at all the real possibilities she'd never understood. Yes, I said finally, but not as a private residence. I showed her the business plan on my phone, the Richards Institute for Design Innovation, a place where talented people could build their own success stories, not steal someone else's. Draw up the papers, I told her. It's time this house belonged to someone who knows exactly who they are. Outside, my friends waited, not the perfect polished circle Vivienne had cultivated, but something better, something real. I stepped into the sunlight, leaving the shadows of stolen identities behind. Because in the end, the life worth living isn't the one you take, it's the one you build.
The sound of laughter hits me before I process the words. It starts as a single snicker. Margaret, I think, before rippling through the conference room like a virus. 30 faces stare at me, some trying to hide their smirks behind coffee cups, others openly grinning. My presentation slides still glow on the screen behind me, the culmination of 3 months of work. 3 months I'll never get back. Well, Leandro says, leaning back in his chair at the head of the table. That was, what's the word I'm looking for? He taps his chin, performing thoughtfulness. Ah yes, pathetic. More laughter. The word pathetic echoes in my skull, bouncing around until it drowns out everything else. My hands are trembling, but I force them still against the smooth wood of the conference table. I'm Rosalie Fernandez, youngest executive in the firm's history. I don't tremble. The client specifically asked for innovative. Leandro continues, his voice dripping with false concern. This is derivative at best, amateur at worst. Did you even look at the brief? Of course I looked at the brief. I lived and breathed that brief for weeks. But the words won't come. My throat is dessert dry as I watch my career crumbling in real time. I can explain, I start, but Leandro cuts me off with a wave of his hand. No need, we'll have Eleanor take over the Campbell account. She actually understands our standards. Eleanor shoots me a sympathetic look that doesn't reach her eyes. Meeting dismissed. Rosalie, stay behind. The room empties quickly, the air thick with whispered conversations and backward glances. Margaret pauses at the door, mouth open like she wants to say something, then hurries out. The click of the door closing sounds like a gunshot. Sit, Leandro commands. I remain standing. The numbers support my approach, I say, finding my voice. The market research. He laughs, standing to face me. You really don't get it, do you? This isn't about market research. This is about knowing your place. The fluorescent lights suddenly feel too bright, too harsh. My skin prickles with awareness of how alone we are. My place? The words come out barely above a whisper. You've been pushing too hard, too fast, making waves. Some of the old guard are uncomfortable with your methods. He steps closer, close enough that I can smell his expensive cologne. Consider this a reminder of the natural order of things. The realization hits me like a physical blow. The canceled meetings, the missing emails, the subtle undermining that I'd dismissed as paranoia. It wasn't incompetence, it was sabotage. You set me up. The words taste like acid. I gave you enough rope to hang yourself. His smile doesn't waver. Take the rest of the day off. Clear your head. Come back tomorrow, ready to be a team player. I gather my laptop with mechanical precision, my movements careful and controlled. Inside, something is building. Not just anger, but something colder, more dangerous. Oh, and Rosalie? He calls as I reach the door. Delete that presentation. We wouldn't want it accidentally ending up in the wrong hands. I turn back, meeting his eyes. Of course not. But I already sent copies to my personal email last night, along with every other project file I've worked on for the past year, along with the emails proving Leandro altered my original brief, along with the recording of him telling Margaret to accidentally delete my backup files. I've spent my whole career being underestimated, being told to wait my turn, pay my dues, know my place. Today, Leandro thought he was teaching me a lesson about power. Instead, he taught me something far more valuable. Sometimes, the only way to win a rigged game is to burn the whole thing down. I walk out of the office into the bright afternoon sun, my heels clicking against the pavement in perfect rhythm. My phone buzzes, a text from Lincoln, my old colleague, who left to start his own consulting firm last year. Heard about the meeting. Call me. Think I might have an interesting proposition for you. A smile spreads across my face as I slide into my car. Leandro has no idea what he just started, but he's about to find out exactly what happens when you back the wrong person into a corner. I open my laptop and start typing. My apartment feels different in the dark, quieter, more honest. I've been sitting here for hours, watching the city lights flicker through my windows while my mind races through the events of the day. My laptop screen glows with dozens of open tabs, email threads, project files, meeting notes, the digital breadcrumbs of my systematic humiliation. The wine in my glass has gone warm, barely touched. I should feel destroyed. Instead, I feel something crystallizing inside me, sharp-edged and dangerous. My phone buzzes again. Lincoln, for the third time. I finally answer. "You're not answering your door," he says, instead of hello. "Because I'm not in the mood for company." "Too bad. I brought Thai food and information. Open up." I sigh, padding to the door. Lincoln stands there with 2 bags of takeout and that infuriating know-it-all smile he always wore at the firm. "You look terrible," he says, pushing past me. Charming as ever, but I can't help smiling as he starts unpacking containers onto my coffee table. The familiar smell of pad thai fills the air, grounding me. "So," he says, settling onto my couch, "want to hear something interesting about our friend Leandro?" My hand freezes halfway to the food. "What kind of interesting?" "The kind that explains why he's suddenly so desperate to push you out." Lincoln pulls out his phone, scrolling through emails. "Remember that Campbell campaign he gave to Eleanor today? Hard to forget. Well, turns out Campbell specifically requested you, by name. They were impressed with your work on the Jensen account last year." The pad thai turns to ash in my mouth. "What?" "Leandro told them you were too inexperienced to handle their budget, that you'd requested to step back from major accounts to focus on smaller clients." The chopsticks snap in my grip. "He what?" "Oh, it gets better." Lincoln's eyes gleam. "Margaret's been helping him sabotage you for months, changing meeting times, losing files. She's gunning for your position." The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Margaret, who welcomed me my first day, who shared lunch breaks and client horror stories, who knew about my mother's cancer scare last year and covered my meetings without question. "How do you know all this?" "I still have friends at the firm. And unlike Leandro, I actually pay attention to the IT guys. They see everything." My mind is already racing ahead, connecting dots. The Campbell account is worth millions. If Eleanor screws it up, the firm could lose their biggest client. Lincoln nods. "And guess who Leandro will blame?" "Not himself. Never himself." I stand, pacing the length of my living room. "He'll need a scapegoat. Someone who worked on the account before Eleanor. Someone who's been difficult lately. Making waves." Lincoln watches me carefully. "Someone who might have copies of all the original work files." I stop pacing. "How did you know about the files?" "Because it's what I would have done. What I did do before I left." He sets down his food. "Listen, Rosalie, I didn't come here just to share gossip. I came to offer you a job." "What?" "My consulting firm is growing. We just landed 3 major contracts. I need someone with your skills, your drive, someone who isn't afraid to take risks." The offer hangs in the air between us. It's tempting, so tempting. A clean escape, a fresh start. But something else is taking shape in my mind. Something darker, more satisfying. "I appreciate the offer," I say slowly, "but I think I need to stay exactly where I am. For now." Lincoln studies me for a long moment. "You're planning something stupid, aren't you?" "Not stupid. Strategic." I opened my laptop, pulling up the files I'd saved. Leandro thinks he's teaching me about power? Fine. Let's see how he handles someone who actually knows how to use it. Rosalie. Lincoln's voice carries a warning. I know what I'm doing. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're choosing revenge over opportunity. Maybe I'm choosing both. I turn the laptop to show him the email I've just opened. The one from Campbell's CEO, dated 3 months ago, specifically requesting me for the campaign. Sometimes the best revenge is making your enemies destroy themselves. Lincoln reads the email, then looks up at me. Holy shit. I think it's time to schedule a meeting with Campbell, the kind Leandro doesn't know about. I feel that cold clarity settling over me again. Want to help? He grins, reaching for his phone. I thought you'd never ask. The city lights seem brighter now, more purposeful. Tomorrow, Margaret will discover her access to the project's servers has been mysteriously revoked. Eleanor will find her preliminary designs for Campbell mysteriously leaked to their biggest competitor. And Leandro's about to learn that some lessons cut both ways. The chaos starts at exactly 9:17 a.m. I time it perfectly, right after the morning staff meeting, when everyone's settling into their routines. My phone erupts first, followed by my email. The Campbell team, discovering their campaign materials, have somehow landed in their competitor's lap. I watch through my office window as Leandro sprints past, his usually perfect hair disheveled. 3 minutes later, Eleanor follows, mascara already smearing from tears. I take a slow sip of coffee, savoring the moment. Rosalie. Margaret bursts into my office without knocking. Did you hear? The Campbell designs leaked? I keep my voice carefully neutral. How unfortunate. She sinks into the chair across from me, face pale. Eleanor's devastated. She worked all weekend on those designs. All weekend? I raise an eyebrow. That's impressive, considering the brief was only assigned to her yesterday. Margaret's expression flickers. Got you. Unless, I continue, she had access to those files before the official handover, which would be strange, wouldn't it? Almost as strange as my backup files disappearing last week. Rosalie, she stops as my computer pings. What was that? Oh, just an automatic notification. Apparently there's been a security breach in the project servers. It's locking down access until they can investigate. I smile. You might want to check your login. She grabs her phone, fingers flying across the screen. I watch the color drain from her face as she realizes she's been locked out of everything. Email, servers, even the company intranet. What did you do? Her whisper carries equal parts fear and awe. Me? Nothing. But it seems someone's been accessing files they shouldn't, moving them, deleting them. The system logs everything, Margaret. Every login, every download, every deleted file. The silence stretches between us, heavy with unspoken accusations. Finally, she looks up, eyes wet. You don't understand, Leandro said. I understand perfectly. My voice stays steady, despite the anger burning in my chest. You chose your side. Now you get to live with it. A commotion erupts in the hallway. Raised voices, the sound of running feet. Margaret turns toward the noise, but I'm already standing. You should go, I tell her. I'm sure Leandro needs all hands on deck right now. She hesitates at the door. We used to be friends. We used to be a lot of things. After she leaves, I allow myself one moment of weakness, one moment to feel the hurt, the betrayal, the weight of burning bridges. Then I straighten my spine and check my phone. A text from Lincoln, Campbell's CEO, requesting emergency meeting. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. You ready? Before I can reply, Freya calls, my mentor from business school, the only person besides Lincoln who knows the full scope of my plan. It's starting, I tell her when I answer. Are you sure about this? Her voice carries that familiar mix of concern and steel. Once you take this meeting, there's no going back. They cross that line, not me. This isn't just about revenge anymore, is it? I watch through my window as Leandro paces the conference room, gesturing wildly at Eleanor and Margaret. No, it's about justice, about making sure they never do this to anyone else. Just remember what we talked about. Don't let anger make your decisions. I won't. But even as I say it, I feel that cold satisfaction spreading through my chest as Leandro slams his fist on the conference table. I'm thinking very clearly. After we hang up, I open my email. The message I've been crafting for days sits in my drafts folder. A detailed timeline of the Campbell account, complete with original briefs, client communications, and server logs showing exactly who accessed what files and when. One click would send it to the board of directors. Not yet, though. First, I need tomorrow's meeting. Need to see Leandro's face when he realizes Campbell isn't just keeping their account with us. They're insisting I run it. Need to watch him try to explain why he lied about their request for me in the first place. My phone buzzes with another text. This one from an unknown number. Heard what's happening. We should talk. I have information you need. E. Eleanor. Interesting. I save the number, but don't respond. Let her sweat. The office has gone quiet now, the initial panic settling into a tense hush. Through the glass walls, I see people huddled at their desks, whispering, watching. They know something bigger is coming. They just don't know what. I close my laptop and gather my things. Tomorrow will be a long day, and I need to be ready. As I pass the conference room, Leandro looks up, our eyes meeting briefly. I give him my brightest smile. Let him think he still has control. By this time tomorrow, he won't even have his job. The cafe Lincoln chose sits 2 blocks from Campbell's headquarters, close enough to be convenient, but far enough that we won't run into anyone from the meeting. My hands shake slightly as I add sugar to my coffee, the adrenaline from the morning finally wearing off. You're sure about those numbers? Lincoln asks, sliding into the seat across from me. Triple-check them myself. I pull out my tablet, showing him the presentation I'd just delivered. Campbell's market research perfectly aligned with my original proposal. The one Leandro claimed was amateur. And his face, when the CEO mentioned specifically requesting you. I allow myself a small smile, like he'd swallowed glass. Wish I could have seen it. Lincoln leans back, studying me. But something's bothering you. Sometimes I hate how well he knows me. Eleanor texted again this morning. Says she has proof Leandro's been running this same play with other female executives. Systematic sabotage, going back years. And you don't trust her? Of course not. But I tap my fingers against the warm ceramic mug. What if she's telling the truth? What if this is bigger than just me? Before Lincoln can respond, my phone buzzes. Margaret. Speaking of people you don't trust, Lincoln mutters as I answer. Can we meet? Margaret's voice sounds strained. Please, it's important. I check my watch. I have 15 minutes. I'm already outside the cafe. Of course she is. I spot her through the window, pacing nervously on the sidewalk. When she enters, her designer suit looks oddly rumpled, like she's been wearing it too long. Mind if I join? Lincoln asks as she approaches. The question isn't directed at me. Margaret hesitates, then nods. Smart choice. She sits, hands clasped tightly around her purse. Eleanor's lying, she says, without preamble. About the proof she claims to have, it's fake. She created it this morning, after. She swallows hard. After Leandro promised her my job. The pieces click into place. He's cutting you loose. He said I was a liability, that I'd been compromised. Her laugh holds no humor. Guess he's not wrong. Why are you telling me this? Because Eleanor's desperate. She knows the Campbell account is gone, knows you've got evidence of her involvement. She'll do anything to save herself, including setting you up. Margaret pulls out her phone, hands shaking. Look, the text chain she shows me makes my blood run cold. Eleanor and Leandro, planning to frame me for corporate espionage. Fabricated evidence showing I'd sold company secrets to competitors. Dated timestamps that would make it look like I'd been doing it for months. They're planting it tomorrow, Margaret says. In the system logs, you used to prove the sabotage. It'll make everything you've shown the board look like part of your scheme. Lincoln leans forward. Why should we believe you? Because I saved everything. Margaret's voice hardens. Every email, every conversation, every meeting where Leandro outlined exactly how to systematically destroy someone's career. I was his favorite weapon, until I wasn't anymore. My coffee has gone cold. Forgotten. What do you want? Protection. When this breaks, I want immunity from the board. And she takes a deep breath. I want to make it right. Not just for you, but for everyone he's done this to. There are others, Lincoln asks quietly. Margaret nods. 3 in the past 2 years. All women, all rising stars, all gone now. I have their names, their stories. The real evidence Eleanor was talking about. I'm the one who has it. The weight of this revelation settles over our table. My personal vendetta suddenly feels small compared to the scope of what we're uncovering. If you're lying, I start. I'm not. I'll give you everything. Files, recordings, witnesses. But we have to move fast. Once they plant that evidence tomorrow, they won't. The cold clarity I've come to know so well returns, sharper than ever. Because we're moving tonight. Lincoln straightens. What are you thinking? I pull out my laptop, fingers flying across the keys. Margaret, forward me everything you have. Lincoln, call your IT contact. We're going to need server access. I look up at Margaret. You understand there's no going back from this. She meets my gaze steadily. I crossed that line a long time ago. At least this time I'm on the right side. My phone buzzes again. Eleanor, still fishing for a response. Let her wait. Let her and Leandro think their plan is still secret, still safe. By morning, they'll learn what real evidence looks like. And they'll learn it in front of the entire board. One more thing, Margaret says, as she stands to leave. Watch out for Freya. She's not who you think she is. The warning hits like ice water down my spine. But before I can ask what she means, Margaret is gone, leaving only her untouched coffee and the weight of another betrayal waiting to be uncovered. The boardroom feels different at night, emptier, more honest. My heels echo against marble as I make my way down the darkened hallway, guided by the glow of my phone. Lincoln's IT contact came through. We have 2 hours before the security system resets. Server rooms this way, Margaret whispers, leading me through the maze of corridors. Her hands shake as she swipes her keycard, but her voice stays steady. Everything's backed up here before going to the cloud. If they're planning to plant evidence, this is where they'll do it. I finish, following her inside. The hum of servers fills the air, along with the artificial chill of industrial cooling systems. How long? 10 minutes to download everything. Maybe 15 to... She freezes, grabbing my arm. Did you hear that? Footsteps, coming closer. Hide, I hiss, pulling her behind a server bank. We barely make it before the door opens, spilling fluorescent light into the room. Hurry up, Leandro's voice carries clearly in the enclosed space. We need this done before the morning backup. I'm working as fast as I can. Eleanor, she sounds scared. But if anyone traces this back, they won't. The timestamps will show Rosalie's been selling information for months. By the time she realizes what's happening, her career will be over. My fingers tighten around my phone, already recording. Beside me, Margaret's breathing has gone shallow. And what about Margaret? Eleanor asks. She knows too much. Margaret's no longer our concern. By tomorrow she'll be as discredited as Rosalie. A pause. Unless you're having second thoughts. No, this feels wrong. Wrong, Leandro laughs. You wanted her position. This is how you get it. How do you think I got where I am? By destroying people's lives? By understanding power. Now finish the upload. I have another meeting. At this hour? With Freya. She's been very helpful in managing this situation. The phone nearly slips from my grip. Margaret squeezes my arm. A warning or comfort, I'm not sure which. Freya, Eleanor sounds as shocked as I feel. Your source was Rosalie's mentor. Where do you think I got the idea to target her in the first place? Freya's been feeding me information for months. Every weakness, every insecurity, every pressure point. His voice drips satisfaction. It's amazing what people tell their mentors. The betrayal hits like a physical blow. Freya, who guided me through business school, who listened to my fears, my hopes, my plans, who knew about my mother's cancer, my father's abandonment, every vulnerable moment I'd trusted her with. I must make some sound, because Eleanor stops typing. What was that? Probably the cleaning crew. Leandro sounds dismissive. Are you done? Almost. There. Uploaded. Good. Let's go. We wait until their footsteps fade, before emerging. My legs feel unsteady, but my mind is crystalline clear. Rosalie, Margaret starts. Download everything. I cut her off. Every file, every log, every piece of evidence they just planted. Then call Lincoln. Tell him to meet us at my apartment. What are you going to do? I check my phone. 9:47 p.m. I'm going to follow Leandro. Find out what else Freya's been sharing. That's too dangerous. If they catch you, they won't. I'm already moving toward the door. Because you're going to create a distraction. How? I turn back, letting her see the cold fury I've been containing. Remember that email about the Campbell account? The one proving Leandro lied to the client. Send it to the board. All of them. Right now. That'll start a firestorm. Exactly. While they're dealing with that, I'll handle Freya. Understanding dawns in her eyes. You're not just gathering evidence anymore, are you? No. I check my lipstick in my phone's reflection. Perfect, professional, war paint. I'm burning everything down, starting with the people who taught me how. Rosalie, wait. She grabs my arm. There's something else you need to know about why Freya targeted you specifically. But before she can continue, both our phones buzz simultaneously. A company-wide email from Eleanor, sent to every employee, every board member, every client contact in the database, regarding systematic discrimination and corruption at executive levels. She broke, Margaret whispers. Eleanor actually broke. I scan the email quickly. Detailed accusations, dates, names. Eleanor's throwing everyone under the bus, including herself. Change of plans, I say, already dialing Lincoln. Tell the IT guy to lock down the servers. No one gets in or out. I start walking, purpose in every step. The game just changed, and I know exactly where Leandro's running to. Behind me, Margaret's voice carries a note of warning. Don't underestimate Freya. She's been playing this game longer than any of us. I smile, sharp and certain. Good. Then she'll appreciate what I'm about to do. Freya's office is exactly as I remember. Tastefully minimalist, with a view of the city that probably costs more than my annual salary. The lights are off, but I can make out her silhouette against the window, waiting. I wondered when you'd figure it out, she says, without turning around. Though I expected it sooner, you're usually quicker than this. Sorry to disappoint. I closed the door behind me. I was busy dealing with the mess you helped create. The mess I helped create? Now she turns, moonlight catching the silver in her hair. Or the opportunity I gave you. That stops me short. What? Oh, Rosalie. Her smile is familiar, the same one she wore when reviewing my business school applications. Did you think it was an accident that Leandro just happened to target the one person I knew could destroy him? The floor seems to shift under my feet. You planned this. I planted the seeds. You did exactly what I knew you would. Fought back, gathered evidence, built an airtight case. She gestures to the chair across from her desk. Sit. You look like you need it. I remain standing. Why? Because the firm needs change. Real change. Not just replacing one corrupt executive with another. She moves to her desk, pulls out a file. I've spent 15 years watching men like Leandro break promising careers. Watching the board ignore complaints, brush off evidence, protect their own. So you used me to stop it. The laugh that escapes me sounds hollow. By having him destroy my career, by giving you the chance to destroy his permanently. She opens the file, spreading photos across her desk. These are the others, the women before you, the ones who didn't fight back. I recognize some of the faces, rising stars who suddenly left, their departures marked by whispered rumors and knowing looks. I tried helping them directly, Freya continues, gave them evidence, encouraged them to report it. Know what happened? The board buried it. Every time, her voice hardens. But you're different. You don't just fight back, you annihilate. My phone buzzes. Lincoln, probably wondering why I haven't checked in. I ignore it. Eleanor's email just went public. I tell her, the whole system is about to burn. Good. She doesn't sound surprised. That was the point. You knew she would break? I knew you would push her to it. Just like I knew Margaret would turn on Leandro once he betrayed her. Just like I knew you'd record everything in that server room tonight. Ice spreads through my veins. You were there? No, but I knew Leandro's plan. Knew he'd try to frame you. Knew you'd catch him in the act. She leans forward. I know you, Rosalie. Better than you know yourself. Everything you told him about me. The pieces click into place with sickening clarity. My mother's cancer, my father leaving. You gave him weapons to use against me? I gave him rope to hang himself with. She stands, moving closer. Every vulnerability he exploited, every pressure point he pushed, it all goes in the lawsuit. Shows pattern, intent, malice. The lawsuit. She hands me another file. Thick, legal looking. Already prepared. Just needs your signature as the primary plaintiff. Once it goes public, the board will have no choice but to clean house. All of them, not just Leandro. My hands shake as I open it. Names, dates, evidence spanning years. A comprehensive case against not just Leandro, but the entire system that protected him. You're not just my mentor, are you? I look up at her. You're the one who's been feeding Lincoln information, the IT access, the client contacts. He's a good ally, like you. She touches my arm gently. Everything I did was to help you win. I jerk away from her touch. By manipulating me, using my trauma as a weapon. By showing you your own strength. Her voice stays calm, reasonable. Look what you've accomplished. In 1 week, you've done what I couldn't do in 15 years. My phone buzzes again. Margaret this time. A warning flashes across the screen. Leandro's coming. Get out. Sign it, Freya urges. End this, tonight. The lawsuit sits heavy in my hands. Justice served cold, calculated, perfect, everything I wanted. So why does it feel like another manipulation? Footsteps echo in the hallway. Running. Time to choose, Rosalie. Freya holds out a pen. Are you a victim or a victor? I look at the pen, then at her. The mentor who guided me, the puppet master who used me, the woman who might be both. Neither, I say, tucking the lawsuit into my bag. I'm something much more dangerous. I'm at the door when she calls after me. What's that? I turn back, letting her see the truth in my smile. I'm the one who gets to choose how this story ends. The footsteps are closer now. Time to move. But first, I have a different file to send to the board. One that shows exactly how deep this manipulation goes. The boardroom erupts into chaos the moment I finish speaking. 15 faces stare at me in varying stages of shock, anger, and disbelief. The evidence I've just presented glows on the screen behind me. Emails, recordings, photographs, years of systematic destruction, all laid bare in pristine digital clarity. Leandro stands first, his carefully maintained composure finally cracking. This is absurd. A desperate attempt by a disgruntled employee to what? I cut him off, my voice steady. To expose how you deliberately sabotaged multiple careers. To reveal how the board ignored complaints? Or to show how Freya orchestrated this whole thing. That last part draws shocked whispers. Freya, sitting at the far end of the table, doesn't flinch. If anything, she looks proud. Everything I did, Leandro starts, was for the good of this firm. To maintain standards. Standards. Eleanor's laugh sounds slightly hysterical. She hasn't stopped shaking since she arrived. Tell them about your standards, Leandro. Tell them what you made me do. Eleanor, he warns. No. She stands, tears streaming down her face. I'm done being afraid of you. The boardroom door opens and Margaret slips in, followed by Lincoln. Right on time. The police have some questions, Lincoln announces, about certain financial irregularities we've uncovered. Leandro's face goes ash white. You can't prove. Actually, Margaret interrupts, setting a thick folder on the table. We can prove everything, including where the money went. The board chairman rises slowly, his expression thunderous. Mr. Mason, I suggest you sit down. This is a witch hunt, Leandro snarls, but I see the fear in his eyes. Rosalie's manipulating you all. Like you manipulated Sarah, I ask quietly. Or Jennifer, or Maria. With each name, I place a photo on the table. Women who came before me, women whose careers he destroyed. You don't understand, he tries again, desperately looking around the room for allies, finding none. The pressure to maintain our reputation. Save it for the police. The chairman's voice could freeze hell. Security is waiting outside. You're making a mistake. Leandro turns to Freya. Tell them what she's really like. Freya stands, straightening her impeccable suit. What Rosalie is, she says carefully, is exactly what I made her to be. A weapon, my greatest success. She smiles at me, maternal and predatory, all at once. Though perhaps I succeeded too well. What does that mean? The chairman demands. It means, I say, clicking to the next slide, that Freya's been playing both sides for years, mentoring promising women, then helping Leandro destroy them, creating victims so she could swoop in with her lawsuit, position herself as a savior. The room goes deadly quiet. Each failure made the next case stronger, I continue. Each destroyed career added weight to her evidence, until she found someone who wouldn't break, someone who'd fight back exactly the way she planned. I meet her eyes across the table. Isn't that right? For the first time, Freya's composure cracks. Everything I did was for yourself. My voice doesn't shake. You didn't want justice, you wanted power. And you don't? She challenges. Look at what you've accomplished. Everything I taught you. Taught me to be like you? I shake my head. That's where you failed. Because I learned something different. I turn to address the board directly. I learned that real power isn't about destroying people. It's about choosing not to, even when you can. Security enters silently, moving toward Leandro. He looks trapped, dangerous. You'll regret this, he hisses. No, I smile, genuine this time. I'll succeed, despite you, not because of you, and that's what will haunt you. As security leads him out, Eleanor breaks down completely. Margaret moves to comfort her, shooting me a questioning look. I nod. Everyone deserves a chance at redemption. The lawsuit, Freya says suddenly. You still need me for that. The evidence has already been turned over to the proper authorities. Lincoln steps forward, along with proof of your involvement. The chairman clears his throat. Ms. Fernandez, the board would like to discuss your future with the firm. Actually, I say, gathering my things, I don't think that's necessary. You're leaving? Eleanor looks panicked. After everything? Not leaving, evolving. I meet Lincoln's eyes, see his proud smile, starting something new, something better. And what about us? Margaret asks quietly. I pause at the door, looking back at the room full of broken systems and wounded people. That's up to you. Change is possible, but it has to be real, not just replacing one power structure with another. Freya stands, one last attempt. Rosalie, think about, I have. I cut her off. Thank you for the lessons, Freya, all of them, even the ones you didn't mean to teach. The morning sun hits my face as I walk out. Lincoln beside me, behind us, the past. Ahead, something new, something honest, something mine. The new office still smells of fresh paint and possibility. Floor-to-ceiling windows flood the space with morning light, illuminating empty desks waiting to be filled. My heels click against hardwood as I walk the perimeter, touching each surface, making it real. Stop obsessing, Lincoln calls from the conference room. The furniture's not going anywhere. I'm not obsessing, I'm appreciating. Same thing. He emerges with a stack of resumes. First interviews start in an hour. You ready? Before I can answer, the elevator chimes. Margaret steps out, looking different in casual clothes, more herself somehow. Sorry I'm early, she says, but there's something you need to see. She hands me her phone. A news alert shows Leandro being led from his home in handcuffs, the headline detailing charges of financial fraud and corporate espionage. Below that, another headline: prominent business mentor arrested in connection with systematic career sabotage scheme. Freya's not taking any deals, Margaret says. She's threatening to expose every corporate secret she knows. Let her. I hand the phone back. Some things need exposing. That's actually why I'm here. She glances at Lincoln, who nods encouragingly. I've been thinking about your offer. The offer I made 2 weeks ago, after everything imploded, a chance to help build something new. And I want in, but not as an employee. She straightens her spine. I want to be a partner. I have savings, and with my settlement from the firm. No, I cut her off, watching her face fall. Not with the settlement money. That's yours. Your compensation for what they did to you. I move to my desk, pull out a contract. But I already had the partnership papers drawn up. Was just waiting for you to ask. Her hands shake as she takes the document. You knew I would. I hoped. I smile. We all deserve second chances. Even recovering enablers. Speaking of second chances, Lincoln interrupts, checking his phone. Eleanor's here, early for her interview. My stomach tightens. Eleanor, who broke the story wide open, who chose truth over power at the last moment, who's still learning who she is without Leandro's influence. Send her up. While we wait, Margaret examines the empty office. It's strange. All those years at the firm, fighting for scraps of recognition. Now we're actually building something. Something better, I finish. Something honest. The elevator chimes again. Eleanor steps out, wearing a simple blazer instead of her usual designer suits. She carries herself differently now, less artificial polish, more genuine strength. Before we start, she says, I need to tell you something. She pulls out a familiar-looking file. Freya contacted me. Offered me immunity if I'd testify that you manipulated everything. That you set Leandro up. The air goes still. Lincoln moves closer, protective. What did you say? I ask quietly. I said she taught me what real manipulation looks like. Eleanor's smile is small but genuine, and that I'm done being anyone's weapon but my own. Pride and relief flood through me. That's exactly what I hoped you'd say. I take the file, drop it in the shredder without opening it. Now let's talk about your role here. I thought this was an interview. It is, for our new creative director position. Her eyes widen. But after everything I did, you did terrible things, I acknowledge. And then you chose to do better. That's exactly the kind of person I want helping others navigate this industry. Tears spill down her cheeks, but her voice stays steady. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. I grin. Wait until you see the workload. The morning light stretches across the floor as we settle into planning mode. Margaret arranging desks, Lincoln reviewing candidates, Eleanor sketching organizational structures on the whiteboard. All of us damaged, all of us healing, all of us choosing to build rather than destroy. My phone buzzes, a text from the detective handling Leandro's case. Need your statement tomorrow, re. Freya's involvement. I type back, I'll be there. Some stories need to be told. Looking around the sunlit office, at these people who've chosen to rise above their worst moments, I feel something settle in my chest. Not the cold clarity of revenge, but something warmer, something real. All right, I say, drawing their attention. Let's create something they never could, something true. Together, we begin. Not with destruction, but with hope. Not with power, but with purpose. Not with fear, but with freedom. And this time, We write our own stories.
The champagne bubbles in my stomach have turned to acid. I'm standing here in a $20,000 dress, staring at an empty church, while my sister is probably somewhere over the Atlantic with my fiancé. 342 guests are whispering behind me. I know the exact count because I agonized over that seating chart for weeks. Now they're all watching me crumble in real time, their pity thick enough to choke on. Riley. My best friend Zoe appears at my elbow, gripping my arm. We need to get you out of here. I can't move. The altar flowers I obsessed over, white peonies and blush roses, are starting to wilt in the June heat, just like my dignity. He's not coming, I whisper, more to myself than to her. The words taste like metal in my mouth. They're really not coming. My phone buzzes again. Probably another concerned text from a guest wondering where the groom is. Or worse, someone sending me the Instagram post. I saw it 20 minutes ago, right before I was supposed to walk down the aisle. My sister Aliyah, wrapped around Colin on a first-class flight, her caption dripping with false regret. Sometimes love doesn't care about timing. Sorry, not sorry. The memory hits me like a physical blow, and suddenly I'm grateful for Zoe's grip on my arm. My knees feel liquid. I need... The words catch in my throat. What do I need? My sister back? My fiancé to choose me? The last 6 months of my life to be something other than an elaborate lie? You need to hold it together for 5 more minutes. Zoe whispers fiercely. Just until we get you somewhere private. Don't let them see you break. She's right. I force my spine straight, channeling every society event my mother dragged me to. Smile pleasant, eyes empty, like I'm at another charity gala pretending to care about endangered butterflies. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice carries across the hushed church, steady despite the earthquake in my chest. I regret to inform you that today's ceremony is canceled. Please enjoy the reception without us. The food and wine are already paid for. A few nervous laughs, more whispers. Someone starts to applaud, then thinks better of it. Zoe steers me toward the side door, my train gathering dust from the ancient church floor. We're almost there when my phone rings. Not a text this time. The screen shows my mother's face. Don't answer it, Zoe warns. I click accept anyway. Mom? Riley, darling. Her voice is careful, practiced. I've just heard from Aliyah. Of course she has. Of course my sister called our mother before my wedding day imploded. And? She says she and Colin have been seeing each other since Christmas. She claims they tried to fight it, but... Christmas. 6 months ago. When Aliyah helped me pick out my wedding dress, the memory of that day crashes over me. Her tears as I stepped out in the winning gown, how she hugged me and said I was the most beautiful bride she'd ever seen, all while she was sleeping with my fiancé. Riley? My mother's voice seems to come from very far away. There's something else. Several people knew. They thought it would be kinder to let you find out after... The phone slips from my numb fingers. Zoe catches it, ends the call. How many? I ask her. How many people knew? She won't meet my eyes. That's answer enough. We reach the bridal suite, the room where I spent this morning getting ready, letting my sister do my makeup because she insisted. Had she been texting him then? Planning their escape while painting my face? I catch my reflection in the full-length mirror. I look like a stranger, some fairy tale princess who took a wrong turn into reality. My sister's artistry is still perfect on my face. The thought makes me want to claw my skin off. I need to get out of this dress, I say. Zoe starts working on the buttons. We'll go to my place, open some wine, figure out next steps. Next steps? A laugh bubbles up, ugly and raw. What's the protocol when your sister and fiancé become international fugitives of love? First step is surviving today. Zoe's voice is firm. Second step is making them regret ever thinking they could do this to you. The dress pools at my feet like shed skin. In my slip, I feel smaller but somehow stronger. The acid in my stomach has hardened into something else. something sharp and cold and purposeful. My phone buzzes again. This time it's an email from an unknown address. The subject line makes my heart stop. Your sister's long game. You deserve to know the truth. I look at Zoe, whose face has gone pale, reading over my shoulder. Maybe surviving today isn't enough, I say quietly. Maybe we need to think bigger. The email sits unopened in my inbox, a digital grenade waiting to detonate. I've been staring at it for hours in Zoe's guest room, surrounded by the ruins of what should have been my wedding night. My phone keeps lighting up with notifications. I've muted everything except texts from Zoe, who's in the kitchen stress-baking something that smells like cinnamon. The rest of the world can wait. The mystery sender's address is just numbers and letters. Probably a burner account. Smart. The subject line pulses like a warning. Your sister's long game. You deserve to know the truth. I click. Riley, I worked with Aaliyah at Maxwell Corp last year. What happened today wasn't spontaneous. She's been planning this since before Colin proposed. I have proof. If you want to know more, meet me at Cafe Luna tomorrow at 2 p.m. Come alone. Z. My hands shake as I read it again. And again. The words blur together, but one phrase keeps cutting through. Before Colin proposed. A sound escapes me. Something between a laugh and a sob. Zoe appears in the doorway, holding a plate of snickerdoodles. What is it? She asks, then sees my face. Oh God, what now? I turn the phone toward her. She reads quickly, lips pressing into a thin line. It could be fake, she says carefully. Someone trying to make things worse. How could things possibly be worse? I stand up, needing to move. The borrowed t-shirt and shorts from Zoe feel wrong on my skin, like I'm playing dress-up in someone else's life. My sister and fiancé are probably in Paris by now, drinking champagne and laughing about how they fooled everyone. What could be worse than that? Finding out it was premeditated? Zoe sets down the cookies. Riley, think about what this means. If it's true, my sister watched me plan an entire wedding knowing she was going to destroy it. The words taste like poison. She helped pick centerpieces and sample cakes and arrange seating charts, all while... My voice cracks. Zoe reaches for me, but I step back. I need air. Outside, the summer night is thick with humidity. I walk aimlessly through Zoe's neighborhood, past houses where normal people are living normal lives. A couple argues about taking out trash. Kids chase fireflies. A dog barks at nothing. My phone buzzes. A text from my mother. Aaliyah says she'll call tomorrow to explain everything. Please be open to hearing her side. Her side? Like there could be any explanation that would make this okay? I'm about to throw my phone into someone's rosebush when another text comes through. Unknown number. Riley, it's Zuriel from the wedding. I know we've never really talked, but I saw what happened today. I have some information you might want. Call me if you want to discuss. Zuriel, Colin's boss at the investment firm. I met her exactly twice. Once at the company Christmas party, and again when she RSVP'd to the wedding. Both times she seemed watchful, like she knew something I didn't. Before I can overthink it, I hit call. Riley. Her voice is crisp, professional. I wasn't sure you'd reach out. You said you have information. I do, but first, have you checked your joint accounts with Colin? My stomach drops. No, Do it now. I'll wait. Hands trembling, I open my banking app. The joint account we opened for wedding expenses shows a balance of $47.13. Last week, it held over $50,000. He cleaned it out. I whisper. Yesterday morning. Zuriel confirms. He also accessed several sensitive client files before leaving. Files he shouldn't have had access to in the first place. The implications hit me slowly, then all at once. Are you saying... I'm saying your fiancé didn't just leave you at the altar. He committed corporate espionage. And your sister, as our former marketing director, helped him do it. The world tilts sideways. I grab a nearby fence for support. Why are you telling me this? Because I believe in karma. Zuriel's voice hardens. And because I've been where you are. Different circumstances, same betrayal. I rebuilt myself. You can too. How? Meet me for lunch tomorrow. We'll discuss strategy. I think of the mystery email about meeting at Cafe Luna. 2 separate people reaching out with information. This can't be coincidence. I need to think about it, I say. Don't think too long. The window for action is small and your sister's long game isn't finished yet. The call ends. I stand there in the dark, my mind racing. Zuriel's words echo in my head. The window for action is small. My phone buzzes one final time. Zoe. Found something in your wedding dress pocket. Get back here now. I start running. I'm sitting in Cafe Luna at 1:55 p.m., ignoring Zoe's texts, begging me not to do this alone. The note she found in my wedding dress pocket burns in my bag. A handwritten confession from Colin about choosing happiness with my sister. As if happiness was a limited resource he had to steal from me. My meeting with Zuriel isn't until 4. First, I need to know what Z from the email has to say. The cafe is half empty. Sunlight streaming through industrial windows. I chose a corner table with clear sightlines to both exits. Paranoid? Maybe, but I'm done being blindsided. At exactly 2, a woman in a charcoal pantsuit approaches. Riley? I nod, studying her face for any hint of recognition. Nothing. I'm Zara. She sits, placing a manila envelope between us. I handled accounts at Maxwell Corp while your sister was there. What's in the envelope? Emails, meeting recordings, proof that Aaliyah orchestrated this whole thing. She taps the envelope, including how she manipulated her way into Colin's department despite being underqualified. My throat tightens. Why are you showing me this? Because your sister didn't just betray you. She used company resources to do it. Expense accounts, client information, all to get closer to Colin. Zara leans forward. She's smart, calculated. Everything was documented because she never thought anyone would look. But you did. I noticed discrepancies, started keeping records. Then yesterday. She gestures vaguely. Well, I open the envelope with shaking hands. The first email is dated 8 months ago. Aaliyah requesting a transfer to Colin's department. The next shows her expense reports, business lunches, late-night strategy sessions. All with him. There's more, Zara says quietly. But you should know, she's planning something bigger. The wedding was just phase 1. Ice spreads through my chest. What do you mean? Your sister didn't just want Colin. She wanted his client list, his connections. They're planning to start their own firm using stolen information. The cafe suddenly feels too small, too exposed. Why tell me this? Why not go to the police? Because corporate theft is hard to prove, but personal betrayal? Zara's eyes gleam. That's where you come in. You have access to things I don't. Family accounts, shared history. Things that could stop them before the cafe door chimes. Zara goes rigid, staring past me. We need to go, now. What? Nora's here. At my blank look, she adds, your sister's former boss. If she sees us together? Understanding hits like a slap. Of course Aaliyah would have allies watching me. Of course this wasn't going to be simple. We slip out the back exit, emerging into an alley. Zara hands me a business card. Call this number when you're ready to move forward. But be careful who you trust. Your sister has eyes everywhere. She disappears around the corner, leaving me clutching the envelope and card. My phone shows 3 missed calls from Zoe and a text from Zuriel. Meeting location changed. Come to Maxwell Corp instead. 4 p.m. Maxwell Corp, where Aaliyah worked. Where this all started. I flag down a cab, mind racing. The envelope feels heavy with possibilities and dangers. I think of Colin's note. Choosing happiness. Was that part of the script too? Every memory feels tainted now. Suspect. The cab driver clears his throat. Miss, we're here. Maxwell Corp towers above me, all glass and steel. As I approach the entrance, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Walking into a trap, sis. But then, you always did trust too easily. My hands go cold. But before I can retreat, Zuriel appears in the lobby. Riley, right on time. She studies my face. You look like you've seen a ghost. I show her the text. Her expression hardens. Come up to my office. There's something you need to see. The elevator ride is silent. Zuriel's office occupies a corner of the 47th floor with views that would normally take my breath away. Today, I barely notice. Before we start, Zuriel says, closing her door, I should tell you, I know about your meeting with Zara. My pulse spikes. How? Because I sent her. She holds up a hand as I start to speak. Everything she told you is true, but it's not the whole truth. She turns her computer monitor toward me. On screen is an email chain between Aaliyah and Colin, dated 3 days ago. Your sister didn't just steal corporate secrets, Zuriel says quietly. She stole something much more valuable, something that could destroy this company, and everyone connected to it. The subject line makes my blood run cold. Project Phoenix, final phase ready. Project Phoenix isn't just corporate espionage, it's a complete takeover plan. I stare at the emails. My sister's calculated betrayal laid bare in bullet points and action items. She wasn't just stealing clients. She was systematically dismantling Zuriel's company from the inside. Why show me this? I ask, finally looking up from the screen. Zuriel's lips curve. Because you're the key to stopping them. They've planned for every contingency except you, the jilted bride who's supposed to be too devastated to function. I am devastated. The words come out sharper than intended. Good. Channel that. She slides a folder across her desk. Your sister's not the only one who can play the long game. Inside are incorporation papers for a new company. At the top, Phoenix Rising Investments. You want me to start a competing firm? I almost laugh. I'm a graphic designer, not a financial expert. You're also the only person who knows how Aaliyah thinks, how she operates. Zuriel leans forward. I'll provide the expertise and backing. You provide the insight we need to beat her at her own game. My phone buzzes. Zoe again. I silence it, guilt twisting in my stomach. She's been trying to reach me all day. I need time to think. I tell Zuriel. You have until tomorrow morning. After that, your sister's plan goes into motion. She stands. Don't let her underestimate you again, Riley. Outside, the summer evening has turned stormy. I duck into a coffee shop just as rain starts hammering the sidewalk. The barista takes one look at my face and adds an extra shot to my latte without charging. Rough day? I turn to find a man in a well-cut suit watching me with concern. Something about his eyes seems familiar. Talon, he says, extending his hand. I was at your event yesterday. Friend of Colin's from business school. My chest tightens. If you're here to defend him. God, no. He looks genuinely appalled. I came to apologize. I knew something was off with him lately, but I never imagined. He trails off. Anyway, I quit the firm this morning. Couldn't stomach working there after what they did. Lightning flashes outside, illuminating his face. He's handsome in a quiet way. Nothing like Colin's practiced charm. Why are you really here? I ask. Because I have information that might help you, but... He glances around the coffee shop. Not here. Of course. Another mysterious meeting. Another person with secrets to share. But something about Talon feels different. More genuine than Zara's rehearsed revelations. There's a restaurant around the corner, he suggests. More private. I should say no. Should call Zoe back. Process everything I've learned today. Instead, I hear myself say, lead the way. The restaurant is dimly lit, mostly empty. Talon orders wine and waits until the server leaves before speaking. Colin came to me last week, trying to recruit me for some new venture. Wouldn't give details, but he was excited. Manic almost. Talon swirls his wine. Then I overheard him on the phone with Aaliyah discussing something called Phoenix. What exactly did you hear? Enough to know they're not just stealing clients, they're stealing identities, using personal information from high net worth accounts to... He lowers his voice. Well, it's not legal or ethical. My hand shakes as I reach for my glass. That's why they needed the wedding, to access my family's accounts. Your father's investment portfolio alone? Talon grimaces. Let's just say it would fund quite a startup. The wine turns sour in my mouth. I think of my father's pride when Colin joined his firm, how he treated him like a son. Another relationship Aaliyah poisoned. Why tell me this? Because what they're doing is wrong. And because... Talon meets my eyes. I've seen how Colin operates. He'll destroy anyone who threatens his plans, including you. My phone lights up with a text from Zuriel. Decision time. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring your answer. Thunder crashes outside. Talon watches me read the message, something like understanding crossing his face. Whatever you're planning, he says quietly. Be careful. Your sister isn't working alone. There are bigger players involved. Like who? He opens his mouth to answer just as my phone rings. Zoe's number. This time I answer. Her voice is breathless, panicked. Riley, where are you? Someone broke into my apartment. They took your wedding dress, all the cards, everything from yesterday, and they left a message. What message? On your dress, in red ink. She pauses. It says, back off while you still can, little sister. I meet Talon's concerned gaze across the table. I'll be right there. Hanging up, I make my decision. Tomorrow morning, I tell him, I'm going to war with my sister. Are you in or out? His answer changes everything. I'm in, Talon had said. But there's something you need to know first. Those words echo in my head as I stand in Zuriel's office at 8:57 a.m., watching her review my counter-proposal. Outside, the city sparkles like nothing has changed. Like my world hasn't shifted on its axis 3 times in the past 12 hours. This is ambitious. Zuriel says finally, looking up from the papers. It has to be. My voice is steady despite my racing heart. Aaliyah won't expect me to move this fast or think this big. Speaking of unexpected moves, she taps her screen. Care to explain why Talon quit his position last night only to apply here this morning? I meet her gaze. Because he knows things about Project Phoenix that could help us. And because he's the only person from Colin's inner circle who had the decency to warn me. Warn you about what? Before I can answer, my phone buzzes. The image makes my blood freeze. My wedding dress spread across Zoe's apartment floor. That threatening message now joined by photographs. Dozens of them, scattered like fallen leaves. Photos of me and Colin, me and Aaliyah, all defaced with red ink. Riley? Zuriel's voice seems distant. They broke in again. My fingers tremble as I show her. They're watching us. All of us. Good. At my startled look, she continues. It means they're scared. You're already disrupting their timeline. Or they're trying to scare me off before... I stop, remembering Talon's revelation from last night. Before what? The office door opens before I can respond. Nora strides in, impeccable in a steel gray suit. Sorry I'm late, she says, not sounding sorry at all. Traffic was murder. My pulse spikes. Nora, Aaliyah's former boss, the woman from the cafe yesterday. What is she doing here? Riley was just walking me through her proposal. Zuriel says smoothly. Care to weigh in? Nora's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Of course. Though I'm surprised you're moving forward given the complications. What complications? I keep my voice neutral, remembering Talon's words. Nora isn't just Aaliyah's mentor. She's the architect of Project Phoenix. Your sister's just the face of it. Your sister called this morning, Nora says. She's very concerned about your well-being. Thinks you might be making rash decisions while emotionally compromised. Did she mention how she compromised me? The words taste like metal. Or did that part slip her mind? Family dynamics are complicated. Nora waves dismissively. The point is, starting a competing firm now could seem vindictive. It might damage your reputation. My reputation? I laugh, the sound sharp enough to make both women flinch. My sister and fiancé destroyed my wedding, stole my family's financial information, and are currently breaking into my friend's apartment to threaten me. I think my reputation can handle a little competition. Nora's facade cracks slightly. How did you know about the financial theft? I pull out my phone, click play on the recording Talon made last week. Colin's voice fills the room, discussing account numbers and access codes with Aaliyah. The color drains from Nora's face. That's inadmissible, she says quickly, recorded without consent. Maybe in court? I agree. But the court of public opinion? They'll eat this up, especially when they learn who really orchestrated everything. Zuriel watches this exchange with growing interest. Nora, something you want to share? But Nora is already heading for the door. This meeting is over. And Riley? She turns back, mask completely gone. You have no idea what you're playing with. Back off while you still can. The same words from my wedding dress. My hands curl into fists. After she leaves, Zuriel lets out a low whistle. Well, that was illuminating. It gets worse. I show her the rest of what Talon revealed. Documents proving Nora's involvement in multiple identity theft schemes, with Aaliyah and Colin as her newest pawns. My sister thinks she's the mastermind, I say quietly. She has no idea she's being played too. And you want to warn her? No. The answer surprises me with its certainty. I want to beat them all at their own game. But I need your help. Zuriel studies me for a long moment. You understand there's no going back? Once we move forward, your relationship with Aaliyah. She killed that relationship the moment she chose this over me. My voice catches. Besides, she's not the only one who can play the long game. My phone buzzes again. Another photo from Zoe's apartment. This time it's a close-up of my wedding dress, where someone has pinned a note. Final warning, little sister, don't make us show you how much worse this can get. I turn the phone toward Zuriel. Still think I'm moving too fast? Her smile is razor sharp. Actually, I think it's time we moved faster. 3 days. That's how long it takes to dismantle someone's life if you know where to push. Zuriel and I have been working around the clock, setting our plan in motion. My hands shake from too much coffee and too little sleep. But I can't stop now. They've taken the bait, Talon announces, striding into our makeshift war room, a converted conference space at Zuriel's firm. Nora's calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow. I study the timeline we've created on the wall. Photos, documents, connections, all leading to this moment. And Aaliyah? Still in Paris. He hesitates. But she's been making calls. Lots of them. Of course she has. By now, she's discovered her access to certain accounts has been revoked. Probably noticed the irregularities we planted in her financial records, too. Small things, but enough to make someone nervous. My phone lights up. A text from my mother. Aaliyah's hysterical. Says you're trying to ruin her. Please stop this vendetta before someone gets hurt. Vendetta. Like I'm the villain here. Riley. Zoe appears with fresh coffee. Your hands are shaking. I'm fine. You're not fine. None of this is fine. She sets the coffee down harder than necessary. You haven't slept properly in days. You're jumping at shadows. And now you're talking about exposing corporate fraud at tomorrow's meeting? That's dangerous. Everything about this is dangerous. I gesture at the wall. They've already threatened us multiple times. What choice do I have? You could walk away, start fresh somewhere else, like my sister did? The words come out bitter. Run away with someone else's life? That's not what My phone rings. Unknown number. Everyone freezes. Speaker. Zuriel mouths from her desk. I answer. Hello? Hello, little sister. Aaliyah's voice fills the room, smooth as poison. We need to talk. My throat closes. This is the first time I've heard her voice since the wedding. About what? I manage. About how you're making a terrible mistake. She sighs like I'm a child throwing a tantrum. I know you're hurt, but this revenge campaign? It's beneath you. Beneath me? I laugh. Like sleeping with my fiancé was beneath you? That was different. Colin and I... Save it. My voice shakes. I know about Project Phoenix, about Nora, about all of it. Silence stretches. Then, you don't understand what you're dealing with. Actually, I do. I understand you're not in control like you think. That Nora's been playing you from the start. That everything you stole, the accounts, the client information, it's all part of her bigger plan. You're wrong. But there's a flicker of uncertainty in her voice. Check your private account, I say. The one you think no one knows about. See how much is left. The sharp intake of breath tells me she's looking. Seeing the zero balance we engineered this morning. What did you do? The same thing you did to me. I took everything. My hands stop shaking. But unlike you, I'm giving you a chance to fix this. Come to tomorrow's board meeting. Help me expose Nora. Or lose everything you thought you were gaining. You wouldn't dare. The sister you knew wouldn't, but you killed her at the altar. My voice hardens. The person you're dealing with now? She's someone else entirely. Talon moves closer, supportive but silent. Zoe looks torn between pride and horror. Riley, please. Aaliyah's voice cracks. You don't know what they'll do. Actually, I do, because they've been doing it to me all week. I think of my defaced wedding dress, the threats, the break-ins. The difference is I'm not backing down. They'll destroy you. No, I say quietly. They'll try. But I learned from the best, didn't I, big sister? You taught me everything about playing the long game. The line goes dead. Seconds later, my phone buzzes with a text from Nora. You were warned. What happens next is your fault. Almost immediately, Talon's phone chimes. His face goes pale reading the message. What is it? I ask. They're moving up their timeline. The board meeting, it's not tomorrow anymore. He shows me his screen. It's in 2 hours. Zuriel stands. Then we move up our timeline too. But we're not ready, Zoe protests. The documentation, the presentations. We have enough. I start gathering files. They're panicking. That means we're closer than we thought. My phone buzzes one final time. A message from Colin. You should have stayed down, Riley. Now everyone will see exactly what you're capable of. I stare at his words, feeling something shift inside me. He's right. They will see what I'm capable of. Just not in the way he thinks. 2 hours, I tell my team. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate the wrong sister. The Maxwell Court boardroom feels like a courtroom, all polished wood and weighted silence. I stand at the head of the table, facing down 12 board members, my hands steady on the presentation remote. Nora sits at the far end, her smile sharp as a blade. No sign of Aaliyah yet. As I was saying, Nora continues smoothly. Ms. Riley's accusations are clearly motivated by personal vengeance. Her recent and emotional upheaval has led to some concerning behavior. A few sympathetic nods from the board. They see exactly what Nora wants them to see. A jilted bride having a breakdown. Time to change that narrative. You're right about one thing, I say, clicking to the first slide. This is personal. The screen fills with transaction records, dozens of them, all showing systematic theft from client accounts. Next slide, emails between Nora and various shell companies. Then, recorded conversations, account transfers, the whole elaborate scheme laid bare. But my emotional state isn't the issue here. I meet each board member's eyes. The systematic fraud being committed under your watches. Nora's smile vanishes. These documents are clearly fabricated. The boardroom door opens. Aaliyah walks in, Colin right behind her. My sister looks exhausted, nothing like her triumphant wedding day photos. She won't meet my eyes. Perfect timing, I say. I was just getting to your part in all this. Riley, don't. Aaliyah's voice shakes. Please. Why not? Afraid they'll learn how you helped steal client information? Or how you and Colin were just pawns in Nora's bigger game? Colin steps forward. You're delusional. Actually, Talon says from the doorway. She's right. He moves to stand beside me, dropping a thick folder on the table. I have proof of everything, including your role, Colin. The board chairman leans forward. What exactly are we looking at? A 3-year scheme to steal client identities and assets, Zuriel says, entering with perfect timing. Using unwitting employees as cover. Isn't that right, Nora? Nora stands, mask cracking. This is absurd. You have no actual proof. Check your phone, I tell the board members. You just received an email with complete documentation, including recordings of Ms. Nora here planning my wedding day, humiliation as a distraction from her larger theft. Phones buzz around the table. Faces darken as they read. You recorded me? Aaliyah whispers. No. I finally look at my sister. You recorded yourself. Every meeting, every call. You documented everything to protect yourself from Nora. But you stored it all on the cloud account we've shared since college. The color drains from her face. Behind her, Colin starts edging toward the door. Don't bother. Talon calls after him. Security's waiting outside, along with some very interested FBI agents. Chaos erupts. Board members shouting questions, Nora demanding her lawyer, Colin making a break for it only to be caught by security. Through it all, Aaliyah stays frozen, staring at me. Why? She asks finally. Why not just turn us in? Why this whole elaborate plan? Because I needed to understand. My voice cracks. I needed to know if any part of our relationship was real, or if I was just another mark in your long game. Riley, was any of it real? The wedding dress shopping? The late-night talks? All those years of being my big sister. Was it all just practice for manipulation? Tears spill down her cheeks. Not all of it. Not at first. Ms. Riley, the chairman interrupts. These allegations are extremely serious. We'll need you to stay and make a formal statement. I nod, not taking my eyes off Aaliyah. I know exactly what to say. You'll destroy my whole life, she whispers, like you destroyed mine. I step closer. The difference is I'm giving you a choice. Tell them everything about Nora's operation, everything. And I'll tell them you helped expose it. Or don't. And I'll bury you with the truth. She looks at me for a long moment. Really looks at me. Maybe for the first time in years. When did you get so strong? When you forced me to be. The boardroom doors open again. FBI agents enter, handcuffs ready. Nora starts yelling about her rights. Colin goes quietly, already bargaining. And Aaliyah straightens her spine, wipes her tears, and turns to the chairman. I'd like to make a full statement, she says clearly. About everything. I feel Talon's hand on my shoulder, steadying me. Across the room, Zuriel gives me a subtle nod. It's done. It's finally done. My phone buzzes one last time. A message from Zoe. You did it. Now come home and rest. Rest. The word feels foreign after so many sleepless nights of planning. But first, Chairman, I say, I believe I have a company to save. The visitor's room at the detention center smells like industrial cleaner and stale coffee. I sit across from Aaliyah, studying her face through the scratched plexiglass. She looks smaller without her designer clothes and perfect makeup. The prosecutor offered me a deal, she says, picking at a loose thread on her orange sleeve. In exchange for testimony against Nora. Are you going to take it? Already did. She meets my eyes. I'm done playing games. Thanks to you, I finally understand the cost. The words hang between us, heavy with everything unsaid. Outside, a guard checks his watch. 5 minutes left. I found Mom's ring, I tell her. The one Grandma gave you for your 16th birthday. It was in the wedding dress pocket, wrapped in your confession note. Her breath catches. I couldn't keep it. Not after betraying everything it represented. She nods, tears threatening. The funny thing is, I continue, finding that ring was what made me realize you weren't completely gone. The sister I grew up with was still in there somewhere, buried under Nora's influence and your own ambition. Riley, I'm not finished. I pull out a folder. The board appointed me interim CEO yesterday. My first action was to review all personnel files. Want to know what I found? She shakes her head, but I push on. Every job you've ever had, including Maxwell Corp., you got on your own merit. Nora didn't orchestrate your hiring like she told you. Your qualifications were real. Your talent was real. Why are you telling me this? Because you didn't need to steal anything. You were already enough. The guard approaches. Time's up. Wait, Aaliyah calls as I stand. The ring. What did you do with it? I touch my neck, where the ring hangs on a chain, keeping it safe. For when you remember who you really are. Outside, Talon waits by his car. You okay? No. I lean against him, letting out a shaky breath. But I will be. My phone buzzes. Zerial with updates about the company restructuring. Then Zoe reminding me about dinner. The world keeps spinning, keeps demanding attention. The board meeting's in an hour, Talon says. Ready to officially accept the CEO position? I think about Nora's corner office, now mine. About the weight of responsibility, of other people's trust. About second chances and the price of redemption. Actually, I say, I have a different idea. The boardroom feels different today. Maybe because I'm not here to tear anything down, but to build something new. Ladies and gentlemen, I begin, I'm declining the CEO position. Murmurs of surprise. Zuriel raises an eyebrow from her seat. Instead, I'm proposing a complete restructuring. New leadership, new ethical guidelines, new everything. Starting with this. I click to my presentation. On screen, Phoenix Rising Investments, rebuilding trust through transparency. The company Nora feared we'd create? Let's actually build it. But this time, let's do it right. 2 hours later, I stand at my office window, watching the city lights blink on. My phone shows missed calls from reporters, lawyers, well-wishers, and one text from an unknown number. You could have destroyed me. Thank you for showing me another way. I touch the ring at my neck, thinking of the sister who gave it to me, of the woman she became, of the person she might be again, of second chances and the courage to take them. Talon appears in my doorway. Car's here. Zoe's threatening dire consequences if we're late for dinner again. Can't keep her waiting. I gather my things, pausing at the photo I've placed on my desk. Not of my almost wedding, but of 2 young sisters sharing a swing set, laughing at some forgotten joke. You really think you can rebuild all this? Talon asks softly. No. I take his hand. I think we can build something better. Outside, the city stretches endless with possibility. Somewhere in a detention center, my sister reads through her plea deal. In boardrooms and offices, people are already whispering about Phoenix Rising's bold new direction. And here, in this moment, I feel the last pieces of my old self fall away. They say revenge is best served cold. But redemption? That burns like sunrise, warming everything it touches. I step into the elevator, ready to rise.